Under the fading sunset, an ancient temple stands alone in the middle of nowhere, barely touched by human footsteps. In front of the dusty Buddha statue, a warm voice suddenly breaks the silence. The woman says she had a strange dream. Guanyin Yangyang told her that if she prayed here, her wish would come true. Without hesitation, she kneels down and makes a sincere wish. She looks at her husband and says softly, "Fu Jun, come pray with me tomorrow. Our wish will surely come true." The man, rough but gentle, nods. They have spent years together, through every season. Now they only want one thing, a child to complete their family. They beg Guanyin Nyang for a son or a daughter. Anything will do. Years ago, they lost 2 children. Since then, the wife's mind has been unstable. The husband blames himself. At their age, how could they possibly have another child? Would one just fall from the sky? The moment that thought appears, a figure suddenly drops from the sky and crashes near the village. No need to guess. This is the male lead. Only someone favored by fate would enter like this. Inside the temple, the woman freezes and looks at her husband. "Fu Jun, what are you thinking about?" The man stammers, trying to speak. Before he can finish, a loud explosion echoes outside. Something extraordinary has arrived. The male lead has transmigrated. The couple panic and cling to each other in fear. The woman is completely stunned. The young man who just landed is Han Shen, only 19. He holds his head in pain and looks around. Where is this? He looks at his hands and realizes even his clothes have changed. The more he thinks, the stranger it feels. Before he can react, the woman grabs his hand tightly. Her face lights up with joy. It's a miracle. Guanyin Yangyang sent us a son. The husband is shocked and tries to stop her. Fu Ren, but even he is shaken. Has the goddess truly answered us? Han Shen pulls his hand away, full of suspicion. "Hey, who are you?" He thinks the woman might not be mentally stable. He steps closer and says seriously, "Auntie, you can't just randomly claim someone as your son." Before he finishes, the husband suddenly kicks him away. "How dare you disrespect your mother?" He clearly protects his wife no matter what. Just when it seems to calm down, the woman slaps her husband. "Don't you dare hit my precious son." She truly believes this boy is heaven's gift. Han Shen stands there, completely speechless. Finally he shouts, "Enough, you two." His head spins. Something feels very wrong. He studies their ancient clothes and makeup. A thought flashes in his mind. Wait, this is ancient style. He looks around again. The more he observes, the more certain he becomes. Did he just transmigrate? The sky grows darker as the last light fades. A coachman nearby urges the horse forward. "Move." The adoptive father smiles strangely at Han Shen. "So you came from another world?" Han Shen nods calmly. "You can think of it that way." On the surface he looks calm, but inside he is confused. Broken memories resurface. He used to be an ordinary young man struggling to survive. "Maybe I lost part of my memory," he mutters. He remembers his name is Han Shen, 19 years old. In his old world, he worked exhausting jobs just to live. Why has life always been so cruel to him? That question has followed him for years. All alone, with no family and no friends, he once stared at the ground, feeling completely lost. Back to the present, he looks at the two in front of him and sighs. "And why am I here? I don't remember anything." His adoptive mother doesn't care about his doubts. She smiles warmly. "Son, what do you want to eat? I'll cook for you." She ignores everything he just said. Meanwhile, the adoptive father stays strangely calm. The man strokes his beard and says firmly, "No matter what, we should go there first." Han Shen turns to him in surprise. Soon they arrive at a vast mountain range. Steep cliffs are linked by fragile wooden bridges. This is Wuzun Shan, Tongfang Academy, a famous training hall. A young girl steps forward and scans Han Shen carefully. She nods slightly. His clothes really are the academy's uniform. The girl, Nan Jiao, speaks confidently. "From what you said, you might be the heaven's chosen saint." Beside her, Sensong frowns. "Master, he could just be pretending." But Nan Jiao doesn't hesitate. She waves her hand. Fake or not, we'll know after a test. If He's lying, he faces the consequences. She points at a glowing golden crystal. "Young master, place your hand on that quartz." Han Shen nods and walks forward, cautious but curious. These people seem naive, yet their eyes hold no malice. He places his hand on the crystal. Nothing happens. He blinks. That's it? He looks at his reflection on the surface. Aside from the ancient clothes and hair, nothing seems different. After a long silence, Sensong's face darkens. No reaction, as expected, a fraud. Even Nan Jiao loses patience. "Throw him out." As the crowd murmurs and mocks him, a strange feeling rises inside Han Shen. Suddenly, information about the golden crystal floods his mind. It is an ancient mineral said to recognize the Saint Sun and awaken hidden power. Only 2 such treasures exist in the world. A whisper echoes in his ears. "Closer, come closer." The world turns crimson. "Who's there? Where am I?" The voice keeps guiding him forward. Then he senses something is wrong. A mighty general appears before him, wrapped in massive chains. His aura is overwhelming. The general speaks coldly. "You are weaker than I expected. You are not yet worthy of my power." Then his tone softens. But it doesn't matter. We can grow slowly. Han Shen suddenly turns around. Two strange figures appear behind him. They are skeletons with burning red eyes. Young master, new master, they chant. They charge at him violently. Lord, Lord, their cries echo as he panics. What is this? Hundreds of bony hands reach out and grab him. His body freezes in fear. The icy grip tightens. He feels completely helpless, unable to resist. Before he can process anything, he is dragged back to reality. His fingers brush the glowing crystal again, but a wave of fear makes him pull back instantly. He refuses to relive that nightmare. Han Shen is still shaking in fear when Nanjiao suddenly shouts excitedly. The crystal reacted. Don't stop, keep going. His adoptive mother looks worried. Fu Jun, will our son be okay? The father answers softly. He'll be fine. Annoyed by all the noise, Han Shen roars. Are you kidding me? This thing is evil. You want me dead? Seeing him resist, Nanjiao sighs. Xiao Song, help him. Sisong nods, his eyes turning sharp. He stares at Han Shen and chants in a low voice, battle armor. Equip. Sen Song spreads his arms in a strange ancient stance. Han Shen blinks. What the hell is this? Suddenly, heavy armor and a helmet appear on his body. Before he can react, Sen Song leaps behind him and grabs his arm, dragging him toward the golden crystal. What are you doing? Han Shen struggles, but Sen Song's strength is overwhelming. He says coldly, forgive me. Without hesitation, Sen Song forces Han Shen's hand onto the crystal. A surge of pain shocks through his body. Han Shen screams. Only when his palm fully presses against the stone does Sen Song step back, watching carefully. While his adoptive parents panic, Nanjiao suddenly bursts into laughter, as if she has discovered something fascinating. A new layer of armor forms on Han Shen's shoulder. Then a full set of magnificent armor covers his body. Golden light erupts from his arm, shaking the air around him. He now looks unstoppable, clad in solid armor and holding a sharp weapon. This is the first-grade flame battle armor. Sen Song's jaw almost drops. His first awakening should be low-grade. Why is it? Before he can finish, Han Shen dashes forward like a storm. Sen Song turns pale, cold sweat pouring down. Hey, what are you doing? He stumbles back in panic. Wait, too late. With one swift strike, Han Shen shatters Sen Song's armor and sends him crashing to the ground. Watching from afar, Nanjiao first freezes, then smiles with excitement. One simple move destroyed 9th rank mortal armor. This kid is a natural genius, just lacking control. As Han Shen suppresses everyone with ease, his adoptive mother suddenly rushes in. Son, don't fight. Come home with me. But his eyes are empty. He doesn't respond. He turns abruptly toward her, aura fierce. With a basic punch, he launches his weapon straight at her, without hesitation. The father's face turns pale. He jumps in front of her. Fu Ren, be careful. The blade cuts through the air toward her, leaving her no time to react. At that instant, a glowing information panel appears, revealing details about Jiang Sen Song, the academy's top male student and class monitor, known for arrogance and using only low-tier armor. In the next second, Han Shen's blade stops right before his adoptive mother's face. Fortunately, Nanjiao steps in just in time and blocks the deadly strike. Furious, she snaps the weapon in half. Then she throws the broken piece back at Han Shen. Take it back. Han Shen flinches as the weapon flies toward him, still unaware of what he has just done. Suddenly, the weapon in his hand dissolves into nothing, and a strange smile spreads across Han Shen's face. Without hesitation, he leaps into the air and charges at Nanjiao. She is clearly his next target. Something is controlling his mind, pushing him to attack blindly. But Nanjiao stays calm. She raises her hand without fear. In a single move, she unleashes a powerful strike and sends Han Shen flying. Her strength is no joke. The sharp pain jolts him back to his senses. He stares at the scene in confusion. What just happened to me? A notification suddenly rings in his ear. A system screen appears. Link established with host. Activating battle domain system. Han Shen finds himself in a pitch-black space. The battle domain system. Is that voice coming from my sea of consciousness? A new message appears. Link reward obtained. Healing battle domain armor. Effect removes mental disorder. His eyes narrow. Mental disorder. That must explain his loss of control. The system displays a new task. Mission. Explore and uncover mysteries within Dongfang Academy. Han Shen feels a spark of excitement. A mission? Fine. Accept first. Think later. He presses confirm. Suddenly, he opens his eyes in the real world. Unease fills his chest. Wait, I still have questions. Only then does he realize he's lying on an unfamiliar bed. Seeing him awake, his adoptive mother rushes over in tears. Son, you're finally awake. His adoptive father stands in the corner, watching coldly. Han Shen looks around blankly. Auntie, where am I? The father clears his throat. The academy arranged this room. You were unconscious for 4 hours. Han Shen rubs his head. Was I beaten that badly? And that system, was it a dream? His mother studies his face with worry. Son, are you feeling unwell? Thinking he is hungry, she suddenly says, Are you starving? Let me feed you milk. She starts removing her outer robe. The father shouts, Fu Ren, stop. He sighs helplessly. Hes 19. He stopped nursing long ago. His wife's condition has clearly relapsed. But she frowns. What are you talking about? Hes still a baby. The husband quickly changes tone. Right. Maybe Hes just thirsty. He turns to Han Shen and winks. Xiaozi, you're thirsty, right? Han Shen nods awkwardly. Yes, just water is fine. The father's face darkens as he recalls the earlier fight. You almost caused a disaster today. Luckily, Master Lu stepped in. Han Shen remembers the powerful woman who knocked him awake. Master Lu, you mean that strong girl? The image of Nanjiao flashes in his mind. The father nods. Liu Nanjiao, the youngest master at Tongfang Academy. Beautiful, hot-tempered, and extremely strict. He smiles proudly. She will soon become your master. The mother pours tea and adds softly. Everything about her is good. She just hits too hard. Han Shen blinks. My master? You mean ill study here? His mother places the tea before him. Drink more water, calm down. The father seems relieved. Tongfang Academy trains armor warriors. Study well. Your mother and I will visit often. Suddenly, his mother hugs him tightly. Han Shen stiffens, unable to escape her overwhelming affection. Suddenly remembering something important, Han Shen says to his adoptive father, I want to see Master Lu. Meanwhile, his adoptive mother keeps rubbing against him happily. My good son is so adorable. Night falls. On a towering mountain peak stands Lu Nanjiao. She walks steadily and asks, coming to see me at midnight because you want access to the library pavilion? Han Shen nods. Yes. His expression turns serious. I just want to understand this world better. Deep down, he keeps the system a secret. Liu Nanjiao seems to catch on. I see. The library pavilion has plenty of records. She sighs softly, but reading everything would take days. I'll give you a summary first. She begins describing a vast land called the Battle Domain Continent, rich with spiritual energy and strange creatures. In this world, some awaken special abilities and become powerful warriors known as awakened. Those who awaken armor become battle armor warriors. Their strength rises, and they may gain unique abilities. But peace never lasts. Brutal monsters constantly appear. Worse still, a dark force called Shachi gathers into terrifying demons. These beings are called calamities. They exist only to destroy. Liu Nanjiao looks straight at him. It is because armor warriors fight the calamities that this world still stands. After guiding him to the destination, she stops. We're here. I have other matters. Go in yourself. Han Shen smiles. Thank you, Master Lu. He studies the ancient hall ahead. This world is full of danger. Maybe the books inside mention memory loss. Maybe he can recover his past. Without hesitation, he pushes open the heavy door and steps inside. The moment it opens, a pair of glowing red eyes stare at him. A massive black tiger. Han Shen freezes. What the? Before he can react, the fierce tiger lunges at him, claws slicing through the air. At the same time, information about Liu Nanjiao flashes in his mind. The youngest master at Dongfang Academy. Strong personality. Noble background tied to the royal family. Still single. Admired by everyone. But there is no time to think. Han Shen summons a weapon just in time to block the tiger's strike. The beast's strength far exceeds his expectations. Its red eyes glare at him. Han Shen quickly realizes this is no ordinary attack. He slams his weapon to the ground, struggling to withstand the tiger's relentless assault. His face turns pale. Too strong. I can't hold much longer. I need full armor. Just as he is about to collapse, a deep voice echoes. Enough. The tiger immediately stops and turns toward a man stepping out of the shadows. Han Shen follows the movement. An old man walks forward. Beast, show some respect. Then he smiles politely. My apologies, Saint Sun. Are you hurt? He introduces himself as Lao Jiang, the library pavilion keeper. Han Shen lowers his weapon cautiously. Senior, you know who I am? The scene shifts to a vast room filled with books. Candlelight flickers softly on the table. Lao Jiang speaks calmly. Miss Lu has informed all teachers of your identity, but for outsiders, it is best kept secret. Han Shen listens quietly, then asks, Senior, why is there a tiger in the library? Lao Jiang smiles. You may not know. That tiger, Chu Dan, is a spirit beast I raised. It guards this place. While they talked, the giant tiger lay in the corner and calmly fell asleep. The old man said it only attacked because it smelled something strange on Han Shen, but without his order, it would not cause serious harm. Han Shen was speechless and could only sigh to himself. Before he could think further, Jiang Lao looked at him and spoke in a low voice. He had stayed here for 30 years and never heard of any book about memory restoration. He apologized sincerely. Han Shen let out a tired breath and said it was fine. Most of his memories were painful anyway. He did not even know if getting them back would be a blessing or a curse. His words made Jiang Lao widen his eyes in shock. He suddenly leaned closer and whispered, asking if Han Shen just said he was handsome. Han Shen froze, not knowing how to respond. The silence only made Jiang Lao, also known as Huang Yi, even more smug. He stroked his white beard proudly and praised himself. Back in his youth, he claimed he was the most handsome man in 10 villages. Han Shen felt his mind go blank. He chose to stay quiet and wondered if the old man misheard him. The whole thing was just awkward. Time flew by. Jiang Lao patiently taught Han Shen many things and helped him understand this world better. Despite being eccentric, he was surprisingly reliable. The old man guided him through records about the war continent. Step by step, the secrets of this world unfolded. It was similar to Blue Star, but the timeline was chaotic, making everything confusing. The deeper Han Shen studied, the more uneasy he felt. His thoughts grew restless, especially when he learned about armor language technique. It was far more complex than he imagined. He knew he could only take it slow. Suddenly, a strange feeling flashed through his mind. He became fascinated by the legends of this world. People spoke of an evil soul hiding in the shadows, waiting to erupt. Like a giant monster, chaos was slowly swallowing the world. When that day came, endless disasters would descend and crush all armor masters. The war continent would fall, and in the end, the planet itself would explode in total destruction. In that darkest moment, a man of light would appear. Only the holy sun from beyond the heavens could save everyone. A golden crystal would resonate with him and become the key to changing fate. At that moment, the system screen lit up before Han Shen. Mission complete, search the library. He received a reward called Insight Eye. With this skill, he could view detailed information about any target he activated it on. Under the dim light, Han Shen stiffened as the mysterious system appeared again. So it was not a dream. Everything was real. Seeing him stand still, Huang Yi asked what was wrong. Han Shen hesitated and asked if he could see the screen in front of him. Huang Yi looked confused. Han Shen quickly brushed it off and said it was thing. The next day, the scene shifted to the majestic mountain range behind the academy. Nanjiao calmly led Han Shen to stand before the students. Her face was cold as she announced that all first-year students were present. Before training began, she had something to declare. She pointed at Han Shen beside her and introduced him as a new student. Han Shen smiled and waved at the crowd. A male student crossed his arms in surprise. Normally, assistant instructor Xiao Song handled training. Why did Lu Laoshi come in person today? Several female students stared at Han Shen with curiosity. One of them thought he looked quite handsome and wondered how strong he really was. Nanjiao ignored the whispers and ordered the front row to make space for him. Han Shen stepped forward without hesitation. Nanjiao sighed and looked at the students like they were a lazy flock of chickens. She firmly announced that today's combat drill would switch to basic training and no one was allowed to wear armor. Han Shen felt completely lost. He had been in this world for less than a day. What exactly was this training? Even the girl beside him looked displeased and glanced at him suspiciously. She wondered if the difficulty was lowered because his talent was poor. At that moment, a male student behind turned and whispered to Yun Jing. He said the new guy was standing in the front row, so Instructor Liu must really like him. Hearing that, Yun Jing gave a sly smile. He came to this academy to pursue Liu Nanjiao, and now this brat dared to steal the spotlight. Yun Jing glanced at Han Shen, who was still standing quietly. In his mind, he was already planning how to deal with him later. Another key figure was Jiang Huang Yi, also known as Jiang Lao, the academy librarian. He was eccentric and slightly hard of hearing from an old battle, but extremely reliable. The scene shifted to the mountain training ground behind the academy. Nanjiao stood coldly and instructed everyone to run straight through the forest after entering the martial field. Once they passed it, training would end. Her face remained expressionless as she added the old rule. The last one to arrive would be whipped. Everyone except Han Shen understood clearly. The students bowed in unison and loudly responded that they understood. Han Shen had no idea what was going on, but seeing everyone bow, he quickly copied them. Inside, he was still confused. Nanjiao nodded slightly and calmly announced the start of training. Then she suddenly shouted for them to begin. The moment her words fell, the students dashed into the forest like arrows, their faces tense. Han Shen was stunned but quickly chased after them. He assumed this was a test of speed and stamina. In seconds, they left him far behind. Even the female students were incredibly fast. He could not catch up at all. He remembered his past life of heavy labor and thought his stamina should be decent. Yet watching them sprint ahead made him feel something was wrong. Was his body really this weak? What kind of brutal training had they gone through? While he was distracted, the cliff above suddenly began to shake. In an instant, massive boulders came crashing down toward the running students. Han Shen froze at the shocking scene. The students skillfully dodged the falling rocks. Some even punched and shattered huge boulders mid-air. He stood there in disbelief. Since when could humans do this? While he was still stunned, 18 massive rocks hurtled straight toward him. Panic filled his mind as he thought he was done for. Just then, a figure flashed past like lightning. Baozi kicked forward decisively and shattered the giant rock in front of him into pieces. Afraid of the debris hitting his face, Han Shen quickly raised his arms to shield himself. After saving him, Baozi landed lightly like a breeze. She walked over and gently warned him not to lower his guard, just because it was basic training. She smiled brightly and told him to take it seriously. At that moment, the system activated and displayed her data. Name Baozi, armor name unknown, armor rank unknown, armor status unequipped, combat rating E+, defense rating E. Han Shen nodded repeatedly, still shocked that the system could show such detailed information. He watched Baozi sprint forward again, waving goodbye. She had been leading, yet she still turned back to help him. Just as he was about to run, a pair of cold hands touched his back. Yunjing appeared behind him with a fake smile and asked if he was nervous as a newcomer, telling him to relax. Yunjing suddenly laughed arrogantly and mocked him, saying he should run faster, or the last place would get whipped. Han Shen clenched his teeth in anger. When did this guy even get behind him? The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Why did he not use Inside Eye on Yunjing? Maybe the system had its own rules. Still, Yunjing felt suspicious. The scene shifted to a silent primeval forest. Not a single person was in sight. Han Shen leaned against a giant tree, breathing heavily. He asked the system to show his status. The screen appeared. Name Han Shen, age 19, armor name Lu Bu, armor rank first level human king, armor status unequipped, combat power half star, defense half star. Seeing the words half star hit hard. Even half a star was embarrassing. What kind of rating was that? Without his armor, how weak was he? While he was lost in thought, a massive log suddenly shot toward him from behind. At the last second, he reacted on instinct and dodged like a seasoned fighter. The log flew past and crashed away. His heart pounded. How many traps were hidden in this forest? The system popped up with a notification. Trap avoided. Gained 100 experience points. Han Shen stared at the number in surprise. Experience points meant he could level up. Suddenly, sharp pain exploded from his shoulder. Numbness spread through his body. The system alerted him that he was poisoned and activated a passive skill to generate a basic antidote. He was stunned. Poisoned? Yunjing's sinister face flashed in his mind. It had to be him. Before he could react, flashes of light shot toward him. A rain of arrows flew in, aiming to kill him on the spot. By sheer luck, the arrows only grazed him. The system displayed trap avoidance failed. Gained 0 experience points. Now used to danger, he bent low and dodged the remaining arrows swiftly. The system chimed twice. Trap avoided. Gained 30 experience points. Trap avoided. Gained 30 experience points. Holding his injured shoulder, he looked at the arrows stuck in nearby trees. The wound slowed him down. At this rate, he would not last long. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed ahead. He looked up in alarm. Another trap was hanging above him, ready to drop. Every mechanism seemed aimed directly at him. This was no coincidence. Information about Baozi suddenly surfaced in his mind. 19 years old, bright and kind personality, a first-year student. Her strong figure sometimes made combat less convenient. Just then, the system announced that the antidote was complete. Poison neutralized. Relief washed over him as the numbness faded, and his senses returned. Without hesitation, he leaped away and escaped the giant trap. The system rewarded him again. Trap avoided. Gained 100 experience points. He stepped back and carefully observed his surroundings. His expression turned serious. He calculated quietly. As long as his body held up, he could dodge most of these traps. Time passed quickly in the deserted forest. After repeatedly dodging arrows, Han Shen moved like a shadow. He dashed forward, and the system notified him again. Trap avoided. Gained 120 experience points. He skillfully avoided a spike pit below and was rewarded again. Trap avoided. Gained 50 experience points. He kept dodging sharp darts at shocking speed as his level rose. He told himself he had to endure. Gritting his teeth, he pushed forward through every brutal obstacle. Wooden darts or giant boulders, he flowed past them like water. In his heart, he swore to use the system to grow stronger. The screen kept flashing. Trap avoided. Gained 100 experience points. Trap avoided. Gained 100 experience points. Trap avoided. Gained 30 experience points. Trap avoided. Gained 30 experience points. After constant life and death trials, Han Shen felt his strength surge. The system congratulated him for advancing from mortal armory level to human king level 2. Combat rating E, defense rating E. His body brimmed with energy. Human king level 2 felt completely different. He imagined himself becoming far stronger than before. Every cell felt alive. His muscles tightened, bones hardened, even his skin grew tougher. A new notification appeared. Skill obtained. Bingzhou Wolf Soldiers LV1 Infantry Type. Han Shen read the details carefully. He could summon 2 Bingzhou Wolf soldiers to assist in battle. Their rank would scale with his own, and they could be used without equipping armor. He confirmed the skill, slightly stunned. So this was a summoning ability. He realized some skills required armor to activate. The thought excited him. What he did not know was that someone was watching him from the shadows. Seeing him still unharmed, Yunjing gritted his teeth in fury. He had already poisoned him with the paralyzing toxin, so why was he still moving? Yunjing stepped out silently, suspecting he had not used enough poison. He crept up behind Han Shen and reached for his shoulder again. But Han Shen suddenly turned and grabbed his wrist. His eyes burned with rage as he asked how many times Yunjing planned to try the same trick. His gaze dropped to the ring on Yunjing's finger, glowing faintly with poison. The pain in his shoulder flared again. Yunjing realized he had been exposed. He quickly tried to explain, calling it a misunderstanding. Before he could finish, Han Shen struck him with a powerful palm. Yunjing was blasted backward in agony. Without hesitation, Han Shen picked up the ring and coldly declared he had no time for excuses. The harmful item was confiscated. That only fueled Yunjing's anger. He roared that no one had ever dared touch him since childhood. He leaped into the air and charged with killing intent. As he attacked, he shouted, asking who Han Shen thought he was. But Han Shen reacted instantly and blocked the strike. The two clashed fiercely, neither willing to yield. When his moves were easily countered, Yunjing began to panic. This kid was not weak at all. Han Shen looked calm on the surface, but he knew his opponent was dangerous. Luckily, he had just leveled up. He landed steadily and fixed a sharp gaze on Yunjing. Now completely enraged, Yunjing revealed his identity. He declared himself the young master of the Song family of the Imperial State. Yet Han Shen did not care at all. With a cold tone, Han Shen replied like it meant nothing. What does the Imperial State have to do with me? I am already tired from all this jumping. Then he smirked and said this was a perfect chance to test his new skill. Yunjing roared, asking what he was mumbling about. Han Shen frowned impatiently and said he was too lazy to care about him. Without waiting, he activated his trump card. Bingzhou Wolf Soldiers Level 1 Infantry Type. He waved his hand and summoned two terrifying soldiers that charged at Yunjing. He mockingly told him to play with them. These infantry units had combat rating D and defense rating E. The other soldier looked even more frightening. Just the weapon in its hand was enough to make anyone tremble. Yunjing's face turned pale. He stuttered in shock, asking what kind of monster this was. Han Shen stayed calm and cold. He simply ordered them to attack. One wolf soldier leaped high and slammed down with a quake, then swung its massive blade straight at Yunjing. Yunjing barely dodged in time. The tree behind him was split clean in half and crashed down. Watching that tree fall shattered his confidence. The speed and power were equal to an armor of the same rank. While panicking, he noticed the second wolf soldier raising its sword for a killing blow. He rolled aside just in time. A second slower and he would be dead. With no choice left, Yunjing summoned his own armor. The two wolf soldiers paused briefly, staring at him without emotion. In an instant, Yunjing transformed into a knight clad in brilliant armor. He shouted that it was Human King Level 3 Armor Poison Strike. The system analyzed it. Yunjing of the Song family, combat rating D+, defense rating E+. Yunjing jumped into the air and counterattacked. The wolf soldiers clashed with him fiercely. Blades collided and dust filled the forest. As he fought, Yunjing secretly calculated. His twin poisons would finish them. No one could resist his venom. But while he smirked in confidence, the two wolf soldiers suddenly flanked him from behind. He spun around to block with his short blade. His anger rose when he realized they were completely immune to his poison. Things were no longer going as planned. He stepped back and glared at Han Shen. Suddenly he realized the key, kill the summoner. But when he searched, Han Shen was gone. Panic crept into his voice as he shouted. Before he could react, a wolf soldier appeared behind him and delivered a crushing blow. The impact shook his entire body. The scene shifted deeper into the dense forest. The system kept echoing with notifications. Han Shen continued dodging traps smoothly and gained 180 experience points. Accumulating experience was the key to becoming stronger. Not wanting to waste time on Yunjing, he dashed forward like lightning. Suddenly, the system displayed an urgent notification. Mandatory emergency mission. Han Shen frowned in surprise. A mandatory mission? Before he could react, a beam of light wrapped around him and pulled him into teleportation. He shouted for it to wait, but he couldn't resist it. Han Shen was dragged away and vanished from the forest. He didn't want to leave, yet only dry leaves were left drifting quietly to the ground. In the next second, Han Shen appeared inside a strange cave filled with gloom. He looked up and scanned the area. A massive tunnel stretched deep into darkness. Where was this place? His gaze stopped at a stone door. Annoyance flashed across his face. The system had forced him here. With no choice, he stepped forward carefully. A deep pit appeared ahead, with stairs leading down into something unsettling. Confusion filled his mind. Why did the system bring him here? Each step pulled him deeper into the unknown. Before he could react, the system's cold voice rang out. Host, walk down the stairs and stand at the center. Han Shen slowly descended the icy steps. Doubt filled his heart. but he still believed the system would not betray him. That thought shattered instantly. A new alert appeared. Battle armor sealed, host body locked. A bad feeling rose inside him. Panic hit him as his body froze completely, stiff like stone. At the same time, creatures began crawling out from small holes around him. Not just one, but hundreds of centipedes rushed toward him. Seeing the horrifying scene, Han Shen trembled. For the first time in his life, he felt true fear. And it wasn't just centipedes. Deadly scorpions appeared and charged at him. Then venomous snakes slithered in, surrounding Han Shen in a deadly circle of poison. The system coldly announced, "Poison Basin trial begins." Unable to move, Han Shen stood helpless as the creatures climbed onto him and bit without mercy. Pain exploded across his body. Each bite forced him to grit his teeth. The scorpions stabbed his hands again and again. Every strike felt like burning flesh. Why? The question echoed in his mind. Why would the system push him into this? The snakes sank their fangs deeper into his arms. Suddenly, red warnings flashed non-stop. Danger, host poisoned, emergency alert, body reaching limit, restraint effect fading. Han Shen's eyes changed. A trace of despair flickered through them. Maybe this time there was no way out. But at that critical moment, the main character's luck kicked in. He suddenly regained movement and shook the creatures off. After enduring endless bites, his body trembled violently and almost collapsed. He couldn't endure the brutal trial anymore and fell onto the cold ground. Deadly poison spread through him like fire in his blood. It felt like blades were slicing his flesh. Every breath tore at his chest. Blood poured from his mouth. Death was closing in. The pain felt like thousands of needles stabbing his brain. Was this a nightmare? His eyes slowly closed as consciousness faded. His body and mind drifted in endless agony. Thinking of his hellish life, he finally let go and sank into darkness, as if seeking relief. The scene suddenly shifted to a ruined city on the brink of collapse. A scream echoed out. Someone's been killed. A worker lay crushed under heavy steel bars from a construction accident. The crowd could only watch as the broken crane cable dangled above, and the victim barely clung to life. Seeing the poor man dying, the crowd started shouting, "Stop standing there! Help him! Get him to the hospital now!" Urgent voices echoed in Han Shen's ears. Hurry up, he might still be saved. But the last thing he saw was heavy snow falling from a gray sky. When he opened his eyes again, a man holding food sighed in annoyance. A young guy beside him stared at Han Shen lying in a dug pit and asked, "Uncle, is this really okay?" The man replied coldly, "What else? You think we're actually taking him to a hospital?" Cruelty filled the man's face as he shoveled dirt into the pit, burying Han Shen alive. "He's just an orphan. No parents. If he dies, he dies." Han Shen closed his eyes and sank into nothingness. The last image was his own body being buried under cold soil. No one cared about his fate. At that moment, old memories surged back like fire. Suddenly, the system's voice rang out. Antibodies generated. Detoxification successful. Notifications kept coming. Congratulations, host. Basic poison resistance achieved. Upgrading to intermediate poison resistance. Resistance enhanced. Han Shen's memories returned. Everything became clear. So this was his destined path. The pain made him calm like still water. He slowly stood up, eyes sharper than ever. With the system in hand, he would rebuild his life and become strong. He finally understood why his life had been miserable. This was his rebirth. Did the system think his poison resistance was too weak, so it forced this brutal test? His eyes burned with determination. He stared into the void and declared, "System, use whatever tricks you have. As long as I get stronger, I'll endure it all." The system replied at once, "Mission complete. Initiating teleportation." When Han Shen opened his eyes, the familiar forest appeared before him. He was back where it all began. He looked up at the sky. The cold moon hung high in the night. How long was I unconscious? Suddenly, a noise came from nearby bushes. He instantly became alert. Something was hiding there. At that moment, Sensong stepped out, staring at him in shock. The two locked eyes. Confirming Han Shen was alive, Sensong grabbed his shoulder in excitement. "Is it really you? Are you okay? Are you hurt?" Han Shen was stunned by the sudden concern. Without hesitation, Sensong turned and shouted, "Hey, I found him." Han Shen froze, mind still foggy. He could only mutter, "Huh?" The scene shifted to Han Shen's room. It was already late at night. Nan looked surprised and kept asking, "So during the inspection you suddenly fainted? When you woke up it was already dark. That's too strange." Sensong frowned. Could it be hypnosis? Or some kind of illusion skill? She sighed in relief. "Luckily, nothing serious happened to you." She took a sip of tea and asked, "By the way, did you meet a classmate named Song Yunjing during the exam?" The name sounded familiar, but Han Shen only looked confused. "Who is Song Yunjing?" Sensong leaned closer and whispered, "A guy with messy bangs, always arrogant. He kept pestering Lu and wouldn't leave her alone." Han Shen suddenly remembered and frowned. "That annoying bastard?" He slowly told them what he knew. "Before we found you, we discovered his body." Han Shen's heart skipped a beat. Song Yunjing's corpse. he realized things had gone too far. Damn it. Inside Han Shen's room, Sensong spoke with doubt. He never met that student. He was injured by the Holy Sun and rested half a day. Sensong rubbed his chin, eyes sharp. From the scene, at least 2 attackers were involved. Nan nodded as she listened. Since the academy was founded, nothing like this has ever happened. Her eyes burned with anger. The academy will investigate this thoroughly. Han Shen nodded, but inside he was uneasy. Did I just cause huge trouble? Seeing it was late, Nan stood up. It's getting late. Rest well. Everyone left, leaving Han Shen alone. He slowly poured himself a cup of tea, eyes filled with gloom. The more he thought, the more anxious he became. Was Song Yunjing's death caused by his shadow soldiers? He never ordered a kill. Staring at his reflection in the tea, guilt crept in. Did I give an unclear command? His eyes suddenly turned cold. Come out. 2 shadow soldiers appeared behind him like ghosts. He set the cup down and asked calmly, "The person in the forest, did you kill him?" Both shadow soldiers nodded. Han Shen froze. "It was really you, bastards. I never told you to kill him." The 2 looked at each other, as if realizing their mistake, yet still clueless. They lowered their heads in apology. Han Shen sighed. "Fine, get out of my sight." Anger surged inside him. "From now on, without my order, you do not take lives. Do you hear me?" The 2 immediately knelt, not daring to look up. He coldly ordered, "Leave." As soon as he spoke, they vanished into the shadows. Strong in battle, but not very smart. I must be more careful next time. Suddenly, the system interrupted his thoughts. Emergency mission. Complete pathfinding. Follow guidance to the target immediately. Han Shen looked at the system screen. So fast? Another mission already? He followed the glowing path step by step. Under dim light, the guidance became clearer, like an invisible thread pulling him forward. Without hesitation, he pushed the door open and walked down the endless corridor. Where is the system taking me? The memory of the poison trial made him shiver. Another brutal test? Time passed. It was deep into the night when he arrived at a vast silent hall. Inside, no one was there. Only silver moonlight streamed through the windows. Han Shen landed softly on the cold stone floor, scanning the dark room. The system announced, "Destination reached. Pathfinding complete." The guidance had led him through a window into this remote room deep inside the academy. No lights, no sound. Suddenly his eyes stopped on something below. His heart skipped. The system spoke again. Academy graveyard reached. Host receives 1,000 experience points. Before him lay a cold corpse covered with a white cloth. Graveyard? So this is it. He slowly reached out and lifted the cloth. Under the moonlight, he saw the face clearly. As expected, it was him. He covered the body again, heart heavy as stone. The system notified, reward granted. 1 armor shadow soldier, new skill acquired, armor summon. Just then, a figure suddenly appeared behind him, startling Han Shen. He looked closely. A naked shadow soldier stood there. No weapon, no armor, just like a ghost. Why would the system give him something like this? The system suddenly spoke. Armor can be extracted. Proceed? Yes or no? Han Shen rubbed his chin. Extract armor? His eyes lit up as he realized something. The system displayed again. Use skill, armor extraction. Han Shen reached toward Song Yunjing's corpse and felt energy surge. The system continued, extracting armor. In front of him, the shadow soldier was instantly covered in new armor, shining under the moon. The armor fully formed, fitting perfectly. The soldier now looked far more powerful. Extraction successful. Please name the unit. Overall attack D. Overall defense D skills. Demonic thorn, severe poison thorn, blood drain thorn, smoke bomb, tracking needle. Han Shen stared at the screen. I'll name it later. Then he asked quickly, how many shadow soldiers can I control? The system replied at once. Infantry type, up to 100,000. Han Shen's eyes widened. 100,000? The system continued. Ranged units, up to 100,000. Cavalry units, up to 100,000. Priest units, up to 100,000. Siege units, up to 100,000. The thought of leading 500,000 skeleton troops made his heart race. The next day arrived in the vast mountain range. On the training field, students whispered about the recent incident. Security was tightened, but life slowly returned to normal. Han Shen's adoptive uncle and aunt often came to visit with permission. Even when he declined, his aunt kept stuffing him with food, making him awkward. Calling them father and mother still felt strange to him, though they didn't seem to mind. Training continued as usual. After leveling up, Han Shen caught up with the others. He decided to keep the shadow soldiers secret. Still, he reminded himself not to rely on them and to keep upgrading his armor. He could now dodge traps easily and pass harder tests, but he noticed he no longer gained experience from simple evasion. He tried wearing full armor in combat training and improved fast, but one thing bothered him. He couldn't equip a helmet. Even the instructors had no answer. Time flew by. Han Shen grew closer to his classmates, especially Sen Song, who loved teasing him. Their bond became tighter day by day. Gradually, secrets of the academy surfaced. Some nobles hid their identities to study here. Some came to recruit talented knights. Others tried to win over divine-level teachers. In the end, it was all a power game. As Han Shen adjusted to this world, 3 months passed. The first 5-day break finally arrived. The students gathered excitedly. Sen Song smiled and asked, "Where are you going for the break?" Someone else added, "Finally, I can go home." Unlike the others, Han Shen stayed quiet. "I haven't decided yet." Deep down, this world still felt unfamiliar to him. Bao Zi grinned and moved closer. "Then come to my house. My mom makes amazing buns." Han Shen quickly waved him off. "That's too much trouble." While they were chatting, Hung Di suddenly crawled out of a bush with leaves all over him. "Student Han Shen, a carriage is outside. It's here to pick you up." Han Shen frowned. "Pick me up?" Then he looked at Hang Di. "By the way, what were you doing in the bushes?" The scene shifted to a peaceful village, calm like a painting by the river. It was Fu Town near the academy. The carriage carried Han Shen to a grand mansion. Young Master Weave arrived. Han Shen stepped down carefully. Everything felt unfamiliar, yet strangely close. "First time here, huh?" Before him stood a large sign, Han Residence. As he walked in, he remembered what his classmates once said. "So we share the same surname after all." The main doors opened, and Han Shen stepped inside. Before he could react, his mother rushed over. "My son." His trained reflexes made him dodge instinctively. He regretted it immediately. His father walked over and kicked him without mercy. "You dare dodge your mother's hug?" This family was truly something else. His mother turned around and hit his father instead. "Don't you dare hit my son." As they argued, a gentle woman stepped out. "Sister, brother-in-law, please let the young master sit. The food will get cold." She was the household manager. His adoptive mother quickly pulled him inside. "Come, I made so many dishes for you." He nodded and followed. She led him through the wide corridors of Han Residence. Each step felt oddly familiar. In the kitchen, she pressed him into a chair. "Sit, this is your home." The table was filled with delicious dishes. Noticing someone missing, he asked softly, "Where's Aunt?" His father smiled. "Don't rush. She'll be here soon." "Because you're coming home. Your mother has been cooking since morning." "She's finishing the last dish." Han Shen nodded, but silence suddenly fell between father and son. He forced a smile. "Why is this so awkward?" His father cleared his throat and told the maids to leave. They bowed and stepped out. The room was now empty except for the two of them. His father walked over and shut the door. Before Han Shen could react, the man suddenly knelt on the cold floor. Han Shen panicked and tried to help him up. "Uncle, what are you doing?" But his father stayed kneeling. "Please listen. I know you are the Holy Son. Your status is far above ours. But I beg you for one thing." Han Shen stared at the man's wrinkled face. "After our child died young, my wife lost her mind. She hasn't truly smiled in years. Please call her mother just once, even if it's just to comfort her." Han Shen fell silent. His heart felt tightly squeezed. Outside the grand hall, his aunt said gently, "Let the servants handle it." His mother shook her head with a bright smile. "This is his first time home. I must cook for him myself." Seeing his sister this radiant, the younger sister couldn't help but smile in surprise. It had been years since she looked this happy. Just mentioning her precious son filled her heart with pure sunshine. As the two walked toward the dining room to prepare a feast for Han Shen and his father, a dark shadow suddenly swept down from above. The figure, clad in glossy black armor, landed right in front of them, shaking the ground. Startled, they stumbled back and shouted in unison, "Who are you?" A sinister smile spread across the stranger's face, his eyes flashing with cruelty. Panic exploded as they screamed again, but only one cold word came out: "Kill." The maid's shriek echoed through the house like an alarm, tearing the silence apart. "This is bad. This is really bad." The maids rushed to Han Shen's father, reporting in panic that the madam and the steward had been taken by unknown armored soldiers. He froze in shock. "What?" The thought of his wife in danger crushed him. He collapsed, crying out in agony, "Madam, madam, we were heading toward peaceful days. How could this happen?" He blamed himself, voice trembling. "I enjoyed peace for too long. I didn't even keep armored guards at home." Han Shen quickly helped him up. "Uncle." But his father was lost in guilt, muttering like a broken man. "Right, report to the authorities. Let them send troops." Then he suddenly shook his head. "No, we don't know their motive. What if they silence her before help arrives?" He even slapped himself hard, the sound dry and sharp. Thinking of his wife in danger, he broke down, tears running down his aged face. Then he suddenly turned to Han Shen. "Wait, aren't you trained in the army too?" But Han Shen was already gone. Even the maids were stunned. He was just here. The scene shifts to Pingan City, calm as if nothing ever happened. Han Shen soared across the rooftops, eyes sharp as he searched for his mother. His face stayed calm, but inside burned unshakable resolve. He focused and activated the aura tracking skill he learned at the academy. Anyone who touched his family would pay. As long as the person was familiar and not too far away, he could sense their aura. If he locked onto his mother's presence, he would find her. Time passed, and the scene moved to a vast forest bathed in golden light. Deer grazed peacefully, the scenery calm like a painting. Suddenly, Han Shen dropped in, his powerful aura startling the deer into a frantic escape. He scanned the area and quickly sensed a fading trace of aura, as if it had been dragged away. His eyes stopped at a dark cave entrance. Why would they force his mother into a place like this? He hesitated at the remote cave far from the city. Should he step into that darkness? The entrance was perfect for an ambush. His gaze turned icy. It could be a trap, but his mother's aura was growing weaker. After a brief pause, he stepped inside. Inside, giant mushrooms glowed with pale blue light, revealing a space larger than expected. Everything was still. Only the eerie fungi pulsed like ghostly lamps. He stayed alert for hidden armored soldiers. Then something ahead made him freeze. His heart pounded. Han Shen trembled when he saw his mother sitting motionless in the corner. He rushed over and knelt beside her. "Mother." He checked her breathing and realized she was only unconscious. "Mother, can you hear me?" He called again and again, but she gave no response. As he tried to figure out how to wake her, a heavy thud echoed behind him. A massive foot stepped forward. In front of him stood a gigantic demon boar, red eyes blazing with fury as if ready to devour him. It growled, treating him as an intruder. "What the hell?" Han Shen muttered, feeling the intense hostility radiating from the beast. Suddenly, the system gave a cold warning. "You have entered a spirit beast's territory. It is hostile. It wants to devour you." Seeing the monster glance at his mother, Han Shen made a quick decision. Lure it away. He moved carefully, step by step. The beast charged like a storm. Han Shen sidestepped calmly, barely dodging the brutal hit. His hand flashed as he summoned a sharp weapon. He slashed at the giant boar, but its hide was tougher than he expected. "Too strong," he muttered, sweat dripping down his forehead. "This thing is at least 2 levels above me." His attacks only enraged it further. The beast roared and went berserk. The system alerted him. Rage mode activated. Attack doubled. Defense reduced. Han Shen placed a hand on his mother's shoulder. He might not win, but he had no choice. "Mother." He lifted her onto his back and sprinted out of the cave. Her safety came first. The monster roared behind him. Just as he exited, a familiar figure stood at the entrance. He froze. Wait, wasn't she supposed to be captured too? What confused him more was her calm face. She even looked pleased. Why wasn't she unconscious? Why was she standing here? Suddenly, an armored man appeared behind her, eyes filled with killing intent. So she had colluded with them to harm his mother. The sudden twist made Han Shen's mind race for a way out. Before he could react, his mother's younger sister burst into cold laughter and ordered, "Do it." The armored man swung his weapon at Han Shen. He dodged swiftly while the man shielded the woman behind him. Their plan was clear: force him back into the cave and collapse the entrance, burying both him and his mother alive. Their cruel smiles made Han Shen's blood boil, so they were working together all along. The more he looked at their twisted grins, the colder his fury became. "Laugh now. It'll make you regret it." Without hesitation, Han Shen dismissed his weapon. His eyes turned icy. They had pushed him into a corner. He gently laid his mother on the ground, movements steady and firm. Behind him, the giant boar was still roaring, but Han Shen remained terrifyingly calm. He whispered softly, "Mother, don't worry. I'm here. It'll take you home soon. Just rest." Suddenly, a giant spider lunged at him, red eyes blazing. Han Shen spoke in a low, commanding voice. "Come out." Instantly, Luo Bing appeared before him, battle ready, blocking the boar's charge. Luo Bing unleashed a vicious poisoned strike, her blade flashing as it cut toward the beast. The monster sensed danger and stepped back, fear flickering in its eyes. Facing the fierce Luo Bing, ready to tear it apart, the boar no longer dared to advance. Han Shen showed no mercy. He turned and ordered coldly, "There are still people outside waiting. Finish this fast. Understood?" Luo Bing immediately rushed forward, determined to end it quickly. Inside the cave, the battle began to settle, while outside another confrontation brewed. The entrance was nearly collapsed. Pan Hui glanced back and asked if they should wait. No way that student can defeat a spirit beast alone. The woman narrowed her eyes and replied calmly, "We wait. I prepared this plan for months. Nothing can go wrong." Pan Hui sighed in annoyance. "If you hadn't stopped me earlier, I would finished him in the courtyard." Her face darkened into a vicious smile. "We pretend to chase him, accidentally enter a spirit beast's lair, and die in an accident. The messier it looks, the harder it is to uncover the truth." She sank into bitter memories. After her husband died, she relied on her sister's family and worked as their steward for 8 years. With no children of her own, she believed the fortune would one day be hers. Then Han Shen appeared, and she overheard her sister planning to leave everything to that brat. Rage twisted her face. "Sister, your family is already rich. The duck is at my mouth. How can I let it fly? Forgive me. This time, I'll have to sacrifice you too." Her thoughts were cut off by Pan Hui's harsh voice. "I don't care about your family drama. I want my full payment. This town has strong officials. I'm taking a huge risk. She nodded quickly. Of course, no one dares owe the mercenary corps. As they continued plotting, a strange noise came from inside the cave. The rocks blocking the exit suddenly cracked apart before their eyes. Pan Hui gritted his teeth. What, that brat isn't dead? A loud explosion thundered out. The cave entrance completely collapsed. Pan Hui turned and shielded the woman from flying debris. He stared into the darkness and shouted, "Hey brat, didn't expect you to have some skill. Get out here and fight me." But what stepped out wasn't Han Shen. It was the giant boar. His anger flared. Damn it, so it was this beast. He had thought the monster already devoured Han Shen and his mother. Pan Hui sneered. What, still not full? Want to bite me too? Suddenly, the boar's head dropped to the ground and rolled to their feet. Both of them froze. Han Shen slowly walked out, eyes cold, steps steady. Seeing him alive, Pan Hui's face twisted in shock. What? Hez still alive? Pan Hui forced a smug smile. Impressive. But your strength must be nearly drained. Alone, what can you do? His grin stiffened as fear crept in. Behind Han Shen, 3 skeletal soldiers appeared, armor gleaming, weapons ready. Pan Hui stepped back confused. What the hell? Just one brat a moment ago. He steadied himself. So they're just his summons. 2 are only level 2 human king. Nothing serious. But when he looked at the third, he paused. At least level 3 human king. Some strength. Still not enough against me. The more he thought, the angrier he became. Brat, today you die. Pan Hui roared, left arm gear. A strange armored gauntlet wrapped around his left arm. He then summoned his main weapon, eyes flashing with cruelty. Imagining tearing Han Shen apart, he laughed wildly. Come on, I'll rip all of you to pieces. The system announced coldly. Target locked, mercenary. Name Pan Hui. Armor rank level 5 human king. Total combat power D2+. Mission issued. Eliminate the evil mercenary before you. Accept mission? Yes, no. Han Shen recalled everything Pan Hui had done. His fury exploded. Accept mission. Begin execution. Instantly, the 3 skeletal soldiers charged, sword energy slashing toward Pan Hui. He frowned at their speed. The system warned. Skeletal soldier severely injured. Pan Hui activated Bloodlust mode and unleashed a crushing strike, sending 2 soldiers flying. Warning. Skeletal soldier severely injured. With just a few heavy punches, Pan Hui shattered 2 skeletal soldiers. They vanished into thin air. He laughed. Just as I thought. Easy. But before he finished boasting, the last skeletal soldier lunged forward, blade glowing with poison slash and bleeding strike. Pan Hui roared, sneak attack? Fight me head on. He counterattacked and the final soldier also disappeared. He looked back at Han Shen, still calmly commanding. Rare poisonous puppets, huh? Pan Hui muttered, a vicious smile forming again. He thought to himself, as long as I crush him before the poison spreads, this ends now. The system chimed in. As long as the host maintains energy in barrier state, skeletal soldiers can be resummoned continuously. Han Shen took a deep breath, eyes turning cold. Come out. Instantly, 2 skeletal soldiers reappeared before him. Pan Hui froze, mouth wide open. What? He had just destroyed them, and now they were back. He roared madly. How many broken toys do you have? I'll destroy them all. Full combat mode activated. I'll finish this in seconds. Han Shen ignored the rage and rubbed his forehead lightly. Even if you're stronger, it doesn't matter. His voice was calm and icy. I'll drag you into endless combat. Pan Hui felt a flicker of unease but shouted back. Brat, stop bluffing. Han Shen signaled. The skeletal soldiers unleashed Blade Storm, waves of sword energy slashing toward Pan Hui. He roared. Damn it, another sneak attack. In the chaos, Pan Hui's shield suddenly cracked. He was stunned. Meanwhile, the steward woman quietly hid to the side, staring in disbelief. How did it become like this? The perfect plan was falling apart. She glanced at Han Shen. How is this brat so strong? I should escape now. Rage burned inside her. As long as I survive, I still have wealth. Kill him. Kill them all. There's no turning back. Sensing the moment, Han Shen leaped into the air and charged straight at Pan Hui. Pan Hui reacted quickly, raising his shield and activating firm barrier. Han Shen stayed calm, gripping his weapon tightly. The poison's kicking in, right? And your battle mode is almost drained. Before Pan Hui could reply, Han Shen unleashed Power Cleave, shattering the shield in one strike. Pan Hui's face went pale. One hit destroyed my weapon? The drug slowed my reaction? Before he recovered, one skeletal soldier lunged forward and restrained his body. Another locked his head in place, gripping his horns so he couldn't move. Pan Hui trembled with rage. Wait, do you even know who you're messing with? He screamed. From the Dong Mercenary Corps. Offend me, and you offend all of them. Let me go now while you still can. Otherwise, my brothers will hunt you down. Han Shen had no patience for threats. He swung his blade in one clean execution strike. Pan Hui's head flew from his body, eyes wide with disbelief. I got killed? His last sight was Han Shen's cold expression. No extra words, just one fatal slash. Han Shen turned and walked away calmly. Pan Hui, once arrogant, fell into eternal darkness. The system announced. Mission complete. Level increased. Armor rank advanced to level 3 Human King. Skeletal soldiers attack and defense boosted. Han Shen looked at his hands, excitement rising. I leveled up. My skeletal soldiers are stronger too. He examined the rewards. 1 unarmored skeletal soldier and 2 pure pearl mages. After equipping them, their presence became overwhelming. He stepped toward Panhui's cold corpse. The system alerted. Level 5 Human King armor detected. Extract? Yes or no? Han Shen didn't hesitate. Extract the target's armor. A strange black aura rose from Panhui's body. The system continued. Extracting armor. The skeletal soldier quickly equipped the shining armor, looking like a war god. Extraction successful. Please name your skeletal soldier. Total combat power D, total defense C. Han Shen sighed tiredly. I have to name you too? What a headache. He looked at the soldier thoughtfully. Fine, let's give you a proper name. Time passed quietly as Han Shen recalled brutal battles in vivid detail. After training, he read books gifted by Grandpa Jiang about the 4 great military merits. One of them was First Climber, the soldier who scales the enemy wall first. It requires extreme speed and skill. The first over the wall can open the gate and decide the battle. The fastest soldier shall be called Xiandong. Han Shen looked at Xiandong standing proudly on the battlefield as the system announced. Xiandong achieved a milestone. Agility increased by 5%. Another title was Vanguard Breaker, the warrior who charges straight into enemy lines and shatters defenses. To earn it, one must survive surrounded by enemies with unbreakable will. Han Shen spoke firmly. With your high defense, crashing into enemy formations will be your role. From now on, you are Han Zhen. The system confirmed. Name Han Zhen assigned successfully. Evasion increased by 5%. Then there were the armored generals who slayed commanders or captured them alive to collapse enemy leadership. When the dust settled, the flag sizer stood tall, raising the captured banner in victory. Those warriors balanced strength and speed, stealing the enemy flag and crushing morale. Han Shen turned to his remaining subordinates. 2 titles left. I'll save them for now. All of you protect Mother. She's still unconscious. Keep your distance. From the corner, the steward woman clenched her teeth, eyes red with hatred. It's over. Everything's ruined. Thinking of her life at stake, she panicked and suddenly tried to run. Forget the money. As long as I live, I can regain everything. But before she could escape, a cold blade pressed against her throat. Xiandong had moved like lightning, knife resting at her neck. A sharp kick knocked her to the ground before she could react. Han Shen walked over, eyes colder than ice. With no options left, she dropped her pride and cried out, "Young master, wait, I'm your aunt. Please spare me." She sobbed desperately. It was that armored man. He forced me. Now she acted like a fragile woman, voice trembling. He would have killed me if I refused. How could I resist? Seeing her pitiful act, Han Shen gave a faint cold smile. Does she really think I'm that naive? Mistaking his smile for hope, she begged harder. I won't dare again. Believe me, I'll repay you. Han Shen remained silent, eyes deep in thought. His silence made her panic. Why isn't he saying anything? I can't fool him? She suddenly knelt down. I know I deserve death, but I had no choice. Spare me. I'll leave forever and never appear again. Han Shen sighed, disgust clear on his face. Of everything you said, only one part is true. You do deserve death. Yet he hesitated for a moment. She had lived in the house for years. Could there be hidden accomplices? Perhaps she needed to be interrogated before the final decision. Lost in thought, Xiandong suddenly moves and cuts the woman down with one clean slash. As she falls with empty eyes, Han Shen just stands there, completely stunned. Han roars so loud the forest shakes, birds scatter in panic. What the hell are you doing? I wasn't even done talking. Xiandong quickly turns away and starts scribbling something, making Han Shen frown in confusion. Turns out, Xiandong wrote down Han's earlier words, thinking deserve to die was an order. After reading it, Han Shen bursts out laughing, then gets mad again, seeing how ugly he was drawn. Han kicks Xiandong straight into the air and growls, "Idiot, why did you draw me that ugly?" Han Shen rubs his forehead and sighs. This isn't the point. They still don't understand my orders. After this, I need to retrain them, or these brainless fools will ruin everything. The scene shifts to a lush green meadow filled with blooming flowers. Han Shen gently carries his mother toward their house, his heart heavy. She is still weak, but thanks to the bone soldiers, her aura is stable. If her body is fine, he must bring her home fast so no one worries. While Han Shen is lost in thought, his mother slowly opens her eyes and whispers, "Shenner, where are we?" He smiles softly, "Mother, you're awake. Don't you remember being kidnapped?" She shakes her head and says she remembers nothing. Suddenly her eyes light up. "Shenner, what did you just call me?" Han Shen keeps walking and replies warmly, "Of course I called you mother." She asks hopefully if he can say it again. He smiles. "Mother, I can say it 1,000,000 times." She asks to be put down, but he gently refuses. "I'm not tired. I've grown up." Soon they arrive at the Han residence. The maids shout happily, "Master, master, madam, and young master are back." The adoptive father rushes out in relief, calling out, "Is it true, madam?" He steps closer and asks anxiously how she returned so soon. She calmly replies, "Husband, I'm hungry." Thinking of her suffering, he feels heartbroken and says he will prepare food at once. Asking if she is hurt, she shakes her head and simply says she wants meat. After the reunion, a man steps forward with a smile, surprised the case was solved so fast. He says he still needs to investigate with Han Tieju and find who dared cause trouble here. He is Su Ziyuan. Han Shen looks surprised as his adoptive father whispers that he reported to the authorities. In case things went wrong, Su Ziyuan is the chief officer of this town. Then he asks where Steward Han and the others are. Han Shen sighs and says it's a long story, and asks them to let mother rest first. As Han Shen is about to leave, Su Ziyuan suddenly steps forward with a stern face and says, "Young Master Han, the case can wait. What interests me now is the filthy thing following you." Han Shen freezes. Filthy thing? Is this guy a magistrate or a Taoist priest? Su Ziyuan raises his hand as a bright aura flashes and says coldly, "Are you coming out yourself, or should I force you out?" Seeing him ready to attack, Han Shen feels the sharp killing intent and thinks, is he serious? Has he gone crazy? Suddenly a familiar voice echoes behind Han Shen, making him stiffen in shock. From the space around him, a man calmly steps out, smiling lightly, saying being called filthy really hurts. Your perception improved again, old brother. You even sensed my stealth. He is Zhong Yuanjing, a second-year teacher at Dongfang Academy. Seeing Zhong Yuanjing reveal himself, Su Ziyuan relaxes and says he sensed the energy fluctuation, asking why he is here, and Zhong Yuanjing calmly explains the academy was attacked before, and he believes Su Ziyuan heard about it. He steps closer and says the headmaster ordered him to secretly protect this kid during the break, making Su Ziyuan wonder what kind of enemy Han Shen offended. Hearing that, Han Shen suddenly realizes and interrupts, "Wait, you've been secretly protecting me this whole time?" Zhong Yuanjing laughs and winks. "Yep, I've seen all your little secrets, kid." Han Shen's face stiffens as he realizes the secret of the bone soldiers might be exposed. Su Ziyuan suddenly jokes about Zhong Yuanjing getting beaten last time for peeking while invisible, making him awkwardly beg to save some face in front of the student. As they chat, Su Ziyuan suddenly raises his hand and says, "Wait, a colleague is calling." He steps aside to listen carefully, while Zhong Yuanjing whispers that something probably happened again, and Su Ziyuan calmly tells the caller to go on. Han Shen looks confused. Is that some kind of communication skill? Zhong Yuanjing points at the device on Su Ziyuan's ear and says it's a long-distance communication artifact made by the academy. He explains like a teacher. Press once to answer, press again to hang up, think of someone to call them, double press to reject. Only special officials have it. Han Shen nods slowly and mutters in shock. So this world has Bluetooth too? While they talk, Su Ziyuan suddenly turns to leave, apologizing. A disaster happened outside town and manpower is short. I must handle it. He leaps into the sky like a streak of light, and Zhong Yuanjing shouts asking to bring Han Shen along for field practice. Su Ziyuan agrees, but tells them to hurry. Han Shen watches him fly and can't help but gasp. He can actually fly. Zhong Yuanjing pats his shoulder and smiles. Don't be surprised. Only those at Dragon King level can awaken flight. You still need time to cultivate. Before Han Shen can react, Zhong Yuanjing grabs him and lifts him into the air, saying it's just a short trip. Han Shen widens his eyes, feeling the thrill of flying for the first time, realizing he is still too weak and this world has far more than he knows. Soon, Zhong Yuanjing brings him to a massive lake, the scenery beautiful like a painting. Su Ziyuan lands first and says this should be the place. The three land, and Su Ziyuan points at broken boats scattered along the shore, while Zhong Yuanjing senses the lingering aura of the disaster. Su Ziyuan clenches his fist angrily and says villages once surrounded this lake. That damn disaster must be hiding underwater. Hearing that, Han Shen feels a chill run down his spine. He steps closer to the water and suddenly says, "There's someone inside," only to realize it's severed body parts floating. Not just humans, but animals too. Han Shen frowns and asks if these are leftovers from the disaster. Su Ziyuan sighs calmly and explains disasters do not need to eat. Killing is simply their nature. Han Shen grits his teeth in anger. So they're worse than beasts. Su Ziyuan stares at the floating hand and mutters, "But why is it floating? I'm not good at underwater combat. How do we drag that thing out?" Just when things hit a dead end, Zhong Yuanjing suddenly says, "I have an idea." His eyes sweep across the lake, filled with floating debris as he adds, though it might be a terrible one. A worn wooden barrel slowly drifts to the center of the lake. Han Shen ends up sitting on it like bait, letting the waves carry him, sighing that this is indeed a dumb idea. Seeing the student turn into bait, Su Ziyuan frowns, is this really okay? But Zhong Yuanjing calmly says relax, we're here. He keeps his relaxed smile, staring into the distance. Those monsters must be faced sooner or later. Han Shen suddenly remembers his bone soldiers can't fight well on water and feels a bit uneasy. While thinking, he feels the water beneath him start to swirl violently. He quickly looks down and sees a massive shadow forming under the lake. The barrel has drifted right above the lair of a brutal aquatic disaster. Sensing danger, Han Shen instantly leaps into the air, barely dodging a deadly bite. He glances towards Su Ziwen and Zhong Yuanjing on the shore, confused why they aren't moving. Are they really making him handle this alone? Even so, he clenches his fist and summons his weapon. Fine, this is a good chance to test my power after leveling up, he thinks and dives down, activating his battle armor mid-air. He pierces through the slimy skin and drives the blade into one of its eyes, bursting it instantly. The monster lets out a horrifying roar, twisting in agony as the lake churns. Han Shen doesn't stop. He pushes deeper, slashing again and again as blood spreads across the water, thinking his attack power truly increased. Using the recoil of his weapon, he flips back toward land and lands smoothly, knowing the ground is his advantage. Golden light instantly wraps around his hands. He dismisses the weapon still embedded in the monster. In the next second, he resummons a new sword and fully equips shining armor, looking like a true warrior. From afar, Zhong Yuanjing observes calmly and says the aura from the wrecked boats suggests this disaster isn't high level. Su Ziwan nods but looks worried. It should be around 6th level human king. Can this kid really handle it alone? Furious, the monster suddenly launches out of the water, mouth wide open, charging straight at Han Shen. Su Ziwan grows tense and urges Zhong Yuanjing to act before the boy gets overwhelmed. But Zhong Yuanjing just smiles and says, "Trust me, this kid isn't simple." And just as he says that, Han Shen shows no fear at all. He waves his hand and summons his bone soldiers, who instantly charge with sharp weapons. Su Ziwan's eyes widen in shock. The soldiers coordinate perfectly, striking from every direction and targeting the monster's weak points. Xiandong joins in with rapid poisonous strikes, raining attacks down as the monster screams and thrashes its tail wildly. Behind them, a group of bone soldiers suddenly raise their hands and cast healing skills, soft light spreading out to restore their allies. Su Ziwan watches in shock and points excitedly. Even top healers can only sustain 2 targets at once. Zhong Yuanjing laughs and nods. The first time I saw it, I was stunned too. Though calm on the outside, he starts calculating. If Han Shen upgrades his armor, who knows what surprises will come next. Meanwhile, the aquatic disaster takes a deep breath, preparing a finishing move. But before it can act, Xiandong fires a blazing energy blast straight at it. 2 nearby bone soldiers panic, and the monster cleverly shifts its target toward the healers on the left flank. Luckily, Han Shen rushes forward just in time and shields them. A deafening explosion erupts, green smoke filling the battlefield. Han Shen raises his hand with a cold expression. He orders firmly, "Keep healing, do not stop, I'll protect you." The 2 bone soldiers straighten up, eyes filled with resolve. Yet a second later, they suddenly blush awkwardly. They hold up signs that read, "Our Lord is too handsome, risking everything for our Lord." Han Shen immediately smacks them and scolds, "Stop bootlicking and focus," and they quickly return to healing. Han Shen points at the monster and calmly orders them to target its weak points. He shifts position and commands Xiandong to flank from behind, coordinating perfectly to trap the monster in the lake. Watching from shore, Su Ziwan mutters in disbelief. Is he really just a first-year student? Zhong Yuanjing quietly asks, "So what do you think of this kid?" Su Ziwan replies firmly, "He will surely become a powerful armor master. More importantly, he commands like a true general." The lake may look calm, but a brutal battle is raging. One bone soldier cleanly slices off the monster's tail. Another swiftly chops off one of its legs. Han Shen leaps into the air and with one sharp strike decapitates the beast. Su Ziyuan gasps. He just killed a higher-level disaster that easily? But Han Shen remains calm, without the slightest regret. At that moment, the system notification appears. Host has slain a disaster. Reward 1,000 experience points and a bonus item, Yang Treasure. The system adds that it can only be unlocked after reaching 5th level Human King. Han Shen frowns slightly. Yang Treasure, locked behind a rank requirement. This system keeps getting more mysterious. After the battle, he lands gently as golden aura fades and his armor disappears. The monster's body suddenly flashes and dissolves into thin air. When Han Shen turns back, only 2 blue crystals remain on the ground. He picks them up and senses a strange energy inside, different from the monster's power. Su Ziyuan and Zhong Yuanjing walk over and explain they are battle domain crystals. Su Ziyuan says calmly, when a disaster dies, the land absorbs it and refines it into crystal stones, perfect materials for enchanting battle armor. Zhong Yuanjing grins and asks Su Ziyuan to show this kid some weapon enchantment skills, and Su Ziyuan turns to Han Shen in surprise. You want me to enchant your armor? Han Shen smiles confidently and says enchantment is a second-year course and depends on talent. I don't know how to do it. Su Ziwen suddenly remembers the unpaid advanced enchantment fee from last time and asks about it, and Han Shen awkwardly promises to pay after salary day. Without hesitation, Su Ziwen grabs Han Shen's weapon in the blue crystal. His face turns serious as he channels energy and explains that each armor master can only enchant one part, and his specialty is weapons. Han Shen senses a strong fluctuation from the crystal and realizes he is witnessing true fusion for the first time. He watches as the blue crystal slowly merges into the weapon. A bright light flashes, forcing him to squint. When it's done, Su Ziwen tosses the weapon back and says low-level crystals only enhance durability. Han Shen feels the difference instantly, heavier and sturdier, and the system notifies him durability increased 50% and sharpness 30%. He stares at the blade in shock, wondering how strong it would be if every part of his armor were enchanted. Su Ziyuan explains higher-grade crystals can add other attributes, but they require defeating stronger disasters or buying them at high prices. Hearing that, Han Shen smiles faintly and thinks he may not have money, but he has family. That evening at the Han residence, Han Shen directly tells his parents he needs money. His father explodes, asking why he suddenly needs so much. Han Shen quickly explains and tells him to calm down. After some chaos, his mother steps in and his father reluctantly hands over a pile of money, telling him to spend wisely. His mother then gently says she won't ask what it's for, but he must promise one thing. She smiles warmly and tells him never to do evil. Han Shen feels touched and explains he only wants spirit crystals to enchant his armor to fight disasters better. His father suddenly laughs and says the Han family specializes in spirit crystal trade. Why would he need to buy any? He proudly adds they even run spirit crystal mines and shops. Han Shen returns the money, but his father pushes it back and says, "Keep it as pocket money. All this will be yours someday." A few days later, the break ends and the scene shifts back to the academy. Han Shen drags himself up the stairs with a huge bag stuffed with food and supplies his mother packed. He mutters that he only wanted crystals, but ended up carrying half the house, then accidentally bumps into a sleeping man by the road and thinks having family feels warm. But after walking past, a strange unease makes him turn around. The man is gone without a trace, and Han Shen stands there confused. Was that just my imagination? Right then, a stranger showed up and tapped the big bag on his shoulder. "That looks heavy," he smiled. "Need a hand?" Han Shen scanned his clothes and posture, instantly suspicious. A wild thought hit him. Could this guy be a transmigrator too? On the road to the academy, Han Shen suddenly shouted, "Wait, what? You're from the Western Academy?" The guy nodded, confused by his reaction. "You've never heard of it?" Han Shen shook his head, playing dumb. Han Shen quickly asked, "Does the Western Academy train armor warriors too?" The man smiled and confirmed, "Of course. Our academy is far in the Western continent, so we rarely visit." He introduced himself, Im Kun, a first-year student. Kun explained that their academy has 3 tiers, each led by a powerful instructor. For some reason, all first-years were ordered to gather at the Eastern Academy this year. Kun glanced at the huge bag on Han Shen's back and offered to store it in his storage space until they reached the mountain. Han Shen froze. "Storage space?" Kun patiently explained. "Space magic allows you to store any item, except living beings." Han Shen nodded. "All right, thanks." In a blink, Kun waved his hand and opened a small spatial rift. The huge bag vanished into his palm. Han Shen's eyes widened. His bag was literally sucked into Kun's hand. Calm as ever, Kun added. "The storage skill awakens automatically at level 5 Human King. Super convenient." Han Shen nodded slowly, determination rising inside him. Just 2 more levels, and he would unlock that skill too. Then he remembered seeing Kun asleep on the road. "Why were you sleeping there?" Kun sighed. "Played cards all night. Got too tired and passed out." Han Shen laughed. "Let's hurry up the mountain." The two soon arrived at the training ground, where Nan Chao had already gathered everyone into neat lines. Seeing everyone return on time, she spoke calmly, her cold eyes shifting toward the tall, sharp-featured students nearby. "Our academy welcomes new guests today," she announced. Standing in line, Han Shen quietly moved closer to the Western students. Their levels didn't seem weaker than theirs. He was curious about their battle armor. His gaze shifted to the 2 instructors behind Nan Chao. They must be from the Western Academy. One of them was a woman named Ariel. Ariel had a cold, striking face and radiated intense energy, almost like Lu Laoshi. She was powerful, the strongest female instructor of the Western Academy. Han Shen then looked at the man beside her. He seemed stern, yet strangely, Han Shen felt no energy from him at all. Rumor says top-tier god kings can completely hide their aura. Han Shen kept observing, but the old man stood motionless like a mountain. Was he the strongest of them all? Then suddenly Han Shen realized. The man was asleep. He was actually sleeping. Right at that moment, a hand suddenly poked the old man's nose. Hong Di grinned mischievously and wrapped an arm around his neck. Caught you sleeping again. Played cards all night, didn't you? The old man shook his head desperately. No, not at all. But Hong Di kept teasing. Yes, you did. The old man snapped back. I did not. Nanchao finally shouted. Seniors, please behave. Don't act like children in front of the students. Hong Di laughed and high-fived Neo. Long time no see, old man. Neo chuckled back. You old fossil, how's that bad ear of yours? Hong Di blinked. What ear? Losing patience. Nanchao stepped forward. Old Jiang, make the announcement. The kids are waiting. The old man nodded and adjusted his glasses. His lazy aura vanished, replaced by pure authority. In a deep voice, he declared, First, let me introduce myself. I am the professional librarian and also the principal of Eastern Academy. He was Jiang Xiongmei, a true powerhouse. The students below were stunned. Wait, old Jiang is the principal, one shouted. He just released his aura. That's terrifying. I even shaved his beard before. Han Shen stood there in shock. He never expected the old man to be the principal. So approachable, yet he never noticed. Jiang Song beside him just smiled mysteriously. I already knew, he said. Han Shen turned, surprised. How did you know? Jiang Song grinned. Because we're family. Han Shen blinked. What is he to your grandfather? Jiang Song puffed up proudly. No, I'm his grandfather. Han Shen was speechless. Little Song, stop messing around. He clearly didn't believe it, but Jiang Song stayed serious. Ho's joking. We're the Jiang family, the highest generation. Even the principal calls my mother ancestor. He laughed and added, Otherwise, how do you think I became class assistant so easily? Han Shen had no comeback. Jiang Song smirked. In this world, strength is number one, but connections matter too. Time passed quickly, and night fell at the Martial Academy. Nanchao stood before the students and announced, Both academies have decided to launch a joint campaign. This will also serve as your promotion exam. Hong Di stepped forward, cleared his throat, and added, Any student who fails will be expelled. The crowd instantly panicked. Expelled? Aren't we supposed to move to second year automatically? What's the test about? Someone asked nervously. Unlike them, Hong Di stayed calm. The exam details will be revealed in 3 days. During this time, teachers will guide you through both academies' armor attributes and share information about Qingzi. At the name Qingzi, Han Shen stiffened. His eyes flickered with unease. Jiang Song noticed and frowned slightly. After the announcement, Neo pulled Hong Di back. Don't forget the exchange student part. Hong Di shot him a look, then stepped forward again. Stroking his beard, he declared, Top performers in this campaign will become exchange students at the Western Academy for 1 year. He paused. I am Nell, principal of the Western Academy. Nell continued excitedly. Likewise, our top students will study at the Eastern Academy for a year. Hong Di muttered beside him. I was about to say that. He had clearly forgotten. The students buzzed with excitement. Exchange students? I heard the Western Academy has the world's best enchanters. I want to see that. Another shouted, and Eastern Academy's martial techniques are number 1 under heaven. We have to win this chance. After explaining the rules, the teachers ordered, dismissed, train on your own. Nanchao remained calm with her Bluetooth earpiece on, but her expression suddenly turned serious. Understood, she said coldly, looking toward Hong Di. She reported, Principal, a high-level calamity has appeared in the northern Eternal Night Desert. The Dragon King armor squad sent last time was wiped out. I'll handle it personally. Hong Di was briefly stunned, then fell into thought. High-level calamities were appearing more often. More armor warriors were dying. He adjusted his glasses and told the students sternly, Watch closely. This old man will stretch his bones tonight. Late that night, the scene shifted to the Eternal Night Desert. It was a barren land without a drop of water, filled with deadly traps. Darkness swallowed everything. Only lizards crawled out quietly to survive. Suddenly, a pair of feet stepped onto the sand, scaring a lizard away. Hong Di scanned the area calmly. The intel says it's around here. Han Shen looked confused. Why did Grandpa Jiang bring me here? Hong Di replied evenly. Sooner or later, you'll face a high-level calamity. I brought you to experience it early. Han Shen sensed the lingering aura in the air. He crouched down, staring at fresh blood, scattered across the sand. This is armor warrior blood, he muttered. But where are the bodies? Under the dim sky, no corpses remained where the calamity passed. Not even a limb. Han Shen felt his head spin. Where did it go? Hong Di approached with sharp eyes. This calamity outranks you, he said calmly. It's normal that you can't sense it. Let this old man draw it out. Hong Di raised his foot and stomped down hard. The desert exploded with a thunderous shockwave. Sand blasted into the air. From beneath the quake, a massive monster rose. The armored sandworm, An's class calamity so huge it blocked out the light. Han Shen stood frozen. An's class calamity was right in front of him. The system flashed. Extreme poison resistance, heavy defense, terrifying attack power. The beast roared like it could tear the world apart. Killing intent poured from it. Han Shen could barely breathe. If he fought it head-on, there was only one ending, death. Hong Di spoke calmly but firmly. Kid, this isn't your battle. He raised 2 fingers and signaled him back, stand far away. Your only job today is to watch. Power erupted from Hongdi. Energy surged around him like tidal waves. He ordered Han Shen to observe carefully. Han Shen's eyes widened. This energy was overwhelming. Hongdi equipped his radiant battle armor, decorated with grim skull patterns. It radiated pure killing intent. He slowly drew the massive saber on his back, a divine-grade weapon. The system displayed full enchanted armor, Godspeed boost, 50% speed increase, SSS level strike output. Han Shen glanced at the blade. The system updated again. Dual-core saber, blood drain enchantment, absorbs 10% of the enemy's power for 30 seconds, 3-minute cooldown. Hongdi shot into the air like an arrow, charging straight at the sandworm. The monster opened its jaws wide, ready to swallow him whole. Hongdi's eyes turned icy sharp. Pure battle intent burned within them. A few clean punches, a few blinding slashes, light streaked across the sky. The giant beast was sliced apart like silk. From afar, Han Shen was stunned. He couldn't even track the old man's movements. This class calamity lay in pieces on the sand. Finished in seconds, Han Shen stared in awe. Hongdi glanced back calmly. Step further back. His face didn't change, as if killing its class was nothing. Then he looked up at the sky. The one up there still needs dealing with. A figure appeared in mid-air, a humanoid monster with bat-like wings. Its aura was perfectly hidden. Hongdi narrowed his eyes. This one was dangerous. The creature smiled wickedly. 3 red eyes glowed on its face. The system screamed a warning. Nightmare-class humanoid calamity detected. The 3-eyed monster hovered above them, staring down like it wanted to devour both of them. Even facing this terror, Hongdi looked more excited than afraid. First time seeing one this strong, he muttered. Han Shen felt heavy pressure crushing him. Should he summon his armor? No, it would be useless. Those 3 eyes pinned him in place. Suddenly, the monster attacked first. Its speed was like lightning. Han Shen felt death closing in. Compared to this, the sandworm was nothing. Before he could react, Hongdi spoke in a deep commanding tone. Kid, stay right there. He tightened his grip on the saber. This old man will use the golden blade. Energy exploded from Hongdi again. The sheer force almost blew Han Shen away. Just 3 surges of power already felt overwhelming. An SS rank armor warrior was clearly stronger than a nightmare-class calamity. Just as Hongdi was about to strike, the 3-eyed monster began chanting strange words in a low, ominous tone. In the next second, it vanished into thin air, leaving Hongdi and Han Shen stunned. Its cryptic voice still echoed in the air. Hongdi paused in disbelief. Hundreds of years, and this is my first time seeing something like that. Even Han Shen, who had lived 2 lives, was shaken. It ran away, he muttered, staring at the empty sky. With the nightmare calamity gone, Hongdi withdrew his aura and sighed. Only high-level calamities understand that language. No one has ever deciphered it. Han Shen slowly calmed down, his voice turned firm. Grandpa Jiang. I think I understood what it said. Hongdi's eyes widened. What? The scene shifted back to the Eastern Academy. Inside Hongdi's study at the Scripture Pavilion. Sitting behind an old wooden desk, Hongdi spoke calmly. That's what happened. Neo, what do you think? Neo adjusted his glasses thoughtfully. A calamity-level enemy appeared in the Western continent, too. As strong as me. It avoided battle and escaped. They seemed to be planning something. He sipped his tea. Hongdi turned to Han Shen. Kid, repeat its words to Neo. Han Shen took a deep breath. It said this isn't the time yet. When he awakens, humanity will be wiped out. No one will escape. Neo's expression darkened. So there's something even stronger behind it. He frowned. And we don't know when that being will awaken. Hongdi stroked his beard heavily. Could be 10 years. Could be tomorrow. We must keep this secret. Panic would destroy the world faster. While the 2 elders pondered, Han Shen suddenly spoke up. Grandpa Jiang, can I borrow the Akame's great empty ground for 3 days? Hongdi frowned. What for? Han Shen's eyes burned with resolve. I need to become stronger. Hongdi thought silently. Students would soon leave for annual combat training. The great empty ground would be empty. Sunset fell. Han Shen stood alone in the vast training forest. After confirming no one was around, he spoke coldly. Come out. Instantly, 4 bone soldiers appeared behind him, radiating chilling aura. Han Shen clenched his fists. For the next 3 days, you fight me. Don't hold back. As long as I die, use everything. His voice was firm, no rest, continuous combat. He activated his battle armor. Radiant plates wrapped around his body. Let's begin. From above, Neo observed with interest. He understands calamity language and has such rare abilities. Could he be the Saint Child? Hongdi sighed. Hez, still young. Hongdi adjusted his glasses. Awakened armor warriors are becoming rarer. Reaching Gaudier is even harder. We're old now. Neo nodded. That's why we eliminate the weak. It's to protect them and conserve resources. Hongdi looked down at Han Shen with expectation. The battlefield is cruel. Only the strong survive. Keep pushing, Han Shen. Han Shen continued training relentlessly with the bone soldiers. Suddenly sensing killing intent, he spun around, eyes blazing at the attacker. Xiandong froze under that glare and stepped back in fear. Han Shen sighed in frustration. I said as long as I don't die, anything goes. Anyone who holds back, I'll never summon you again. That's an order. The bone soldiers trembled and scattered in panic. Han Shen chased after them without hesitation. He had to grow stronger. If he died, he could revive. If injured, the bone mage would heal him. They fought non-stop. Sweat poured down as his combat skills sharpened. Ambushes from Xiandong grew frequent, but Han Shen adapted fast. Once he mastered this level, he would increase their numbers. Surrounded from all sides, he moved like a blade in chaos. This was real experience. Solo combat against overwhelming odds. Blood soaked his body. Wounds covered him. He stopped counting. Heal, fight, bleed again. Pain kept him awake. This world, his family, his friends, all stood on the edge of destruction. Time passed. Han Shen trained without rest, walking the line between life and death. 3 days later, in the same forest, Han Shen stepped forward with a stronger aura. The system chimed. Congratulations. Battle armor advanced to Human King Tier 2. Storage space skill unlocked. Reward box available. Open now? Han Shen grinned. I almost forgot about this. He confirmed immediately. Open it. The system activated. The forest around him glowed brightly. A treasure chest appeared before his eyes. After days of waiting, the reward finally arrived. Congratulations. You obtained Scarlet Horse Speed. A giant crimson warhorse manifested. Effect. Increase movement and attack speed by 200% for 20 seconds. Han Shen laughed. This is even crazier than Grandpa's speed boost. Short duration but terrifying impact. The system continued. Level up reward. 100 Frost Soldier Orbs, Infantry type. Additional reward. 100 Frost Soldier Orbs, Siege type. Han Shen nodded, pleased. Infantry, siege units, healers already secured. Only cavalry and ranged units left. Once complete, he would build a full army and challenge high-level calamities. As his thoughts settled, he looked at the sunset. The exam was near, yet he still had no idea what awaited him. The scene shifted to the core battlefield of Blade Wind Valley. Before everyone stood a massive underground cave, like a bottomless abyss swallowing all light. From the darkness came heavy footsteps and a cold voice. A calamity monster emerged, snarling with disgust. Other monsters trembled and shrank back in fear. It walked through the shadows with contempt. Why does this world still crawl with those filthy humans? It muttered angrily. Can none of you kill them? Then it suppressed its rage and fell silent. He walked straight toward a massive egg deep inside the cave, glowing with a dark, eerie light, and coldly whispers, Before you awaken, I will cleanse this entire world for you. Time flies and the scene shifts to morning in a lush green bamboo forest. The students charge forward without stopping, refusing to fall behind. Even Kun, usually calm, turns deadly serious and shouts that everyone must speed up because this is a timed exam, and it has to be finished before nightfall. Kun's face darkens as he mutters that if he had reached Dragon King rank with awakened language arts, they would not be stuck marching like this. He suddenly notices Han Shen is missing and asks Bao Zi where their class monitor is, and Bao Zi calmly replies that he is still behind. Seeing Kun's surprise, she gently explains that he said he had a special mission and would arrive a bit later with Han Shen. That answer makes Kun suspicious, as he wonders what kind of special mission the Eastern Academy is hiding. Time passes quickly, and night once again covers the vast bamboo forest. A sudden voice rings beside Han Shen as Sen Song runs over smugly, saying Jiang Lao left them behind for a special mission. Sen Song grows more excited, laughing proudly that since he is Jiang Lao's nephew and Han Shen is the Holy Son, they must be getting special treatment. But his joy fades as he complains that instead, he has to carry this stupid thing, while marching just to let Han Shen rest, grumbling that the brat has not slept for 3 days. The scene rewinds to before departure as Principal Hong Di stands before hundreds of students with sharp eyes behind his glasses. He adjusts his glasses and announces that the exam details have already been given to each team leader. Ariel and Nan listen carefully, while he calmly explains that the judges will be 2 top male teachers from both academies who will strictly evaluate every action. Sen Song looks curious thinking about Lu Lao's battle armor and wondering how magnificent Yao Lao's armor might be, while Han Shen can barely keep his eyes open after 3 sleepless days. Principal Hong Di continues that the Holy Son has already arrived on the war continent and is undergoing secret training, but his identity cannot yet be revealed. He emphasizes that when the time is right, the Holy Son's identity will shake the entire continent, igniting excitement among the students who now believe the legend is real and that the calamities may soon be wiped out. Not letting the crowd wait, Principal Hong Di raises his hand and declares that one day, the Holy Son will lead them into battle against the calamities. He roars that they will hunt them down and exterminate them, and the students shout back in unison to wipe them out completely. The scene shifts to a forest corner where students hide and observe the monsters ahead, while Han Shen sleeps like the dead with his head drooping. Kun stares coldly at the target and announces that the exam objective is right in front of them. Before them stands a fortified city alone in the wasteland, guarded by fierce mercenaries. Kun quickly orders that their mission is to capture this fortress, and Sensong studies the maps, saying the city has 2 main gates. Sensong points at the map and explains that the back gate sits against a narrow cliff, so security there is loose, while the front gate is heavily guarded, and everyone leans in to study the map. He confidently states that the dean's order is to strike the inner city, and Kun suggests sending one squad to lure the front gate, while the rest sneak along the cliff and ambush through the back, which Sensong immediately approves. Kun then warns that the front gate has a high danger level, and proposes that a Western Academy team handle the frontal assault while the Eastern Academy moves through the rear. Sensong explodes in anger and demands why the Eastern Academy cannot take the front, accusing Kun of looking down on them, while Kun quickly denies any disrespect. As the argument heats up, Han Shen's calm voice cuts in, telling them to stop arguing and just leave the front gate to him. Han Shen walks forward yawning and casually says he alone will attack the front gate, shocking everyone as they protest that one person cannot possibly face an entire army. The scene shifts back as Han Shen thanks the 2 leaders for covering for him and admits there are things he is not ready to reveal to the class, while Kun urges him to explain quickly because time is running out. Kun warns that without a proper reason he will never allow Han Shen to risk his life alone, and Sensong anxiously tells him to speak fast before the exam time expires. Han Shen gives no explanation and simply says, "Come out." The moment his words fall, rows of silent armored puppets appear behind him like ghosts. Sensong stumbles back in shock and shouts, "What the hell are these things?" Kun turns pale as well and demands to know what those things are. Han Shen calmly explains that these are just constructs he forged, part of his battle armor technique, and they obey only his commands. He adds that he still has hundreds more like them and insists he would never risk his classmates' lives, then firmly asks if he can now take the front gate. Kun and Sensong fall silent as their expressions slowly change, finally seeing Han Shen in a new light. Under a large tree, a lackey of Yunjing secretly overhears everything and feels uneasy, thinking he was lucky not to follow orders and miss this show. When he recalls Yunjing's armored puppet that looked identical to young Master Song's armor, a bad feeling rises as he suspects Han Shen is tied to Song Yunjing's death. Torn by greed and fear, he considers exposing this secret to the Song family after the exam, to gain some benefit since his backer is already dead. The scene shifts to the fortified city, where soldiers stand guard and block anyone from entering. A junior officer rushes over and yells at the guards to stay sharp because if they took the money, they better do the job right. The junior officer curses inside, saying guarding this cursed place is driving him insane, and the new recruits are all trash barely at 3rd-tier king rank, while awakened fighters are getting rarer by the day. As a small official in the city, he hesitates when thinking about his situation, complaining that his mother keeps asking him to return home for business that barely earns enough for a few rounds of gambling. While walking, he broods that disasters are increasing, and both the Eastern Academy and the authorities are squeezing everyone dry with no way to survive. He grumbles that the environment is awful, and this broken world is about to collapse anyway. Suddenly, he spots a lone figure slowly approaching below the wall, and immediately shouts for the stranger to stop because he will not open the gate. Noticing Han Shen's Eastern Academy uniform, he feels both surprise and suspicion and wonders why a lone student would come here. Uneasy thoughts rise in his mind since the authorities and the Eastern Academy usually avoid each other, and he worries something inside the city was exposed, though he tries to calm himself, thinking the boy might just be lost. When Han Shen does not answer, the officer angrily yells, asking if he is deaf and what he is doing here. Han Shen finally smiles politely, greets him, and calmly says he is here to siege the city. The officer and soldiers freeze for a second in disbelief. Then they burst into laughter, mocking that the Eastern Academy must be recruiting lunatics now. Han Shen remains unfazed by the ridicule and coldly commands, "Come out." At once, a squad of skeletal warriors rises behind him with blazing momentum. The officer's smile vanishes as he stares in horror and mutters, "What the hell is this?" Before him stands a living white bone army, not an illusion, and he panics wondering how someone could summon such a massive force. He roars for his men to notify the city generals immediately and not let them sleep through this, and a soldier rushes off. The officer raises 2 fingers, ready to teach Han Shen a lesson. With a sharp motion, he activates his 6th-tier king-level battle armor, power surging around him as he sneers at the so-called mad student. His grin turns cruel as he declares he wants to see how long a mere student can last. Han Shen calmly advances at the head of the skeleton army, thinking that people who sell their conscience for profit deserve no mercy, and he decides he will not hold back. He glances at the bamboo forest behind him and sighs softly, guessing the others should be ready by now. Just as expected, the students there have already set up their positions and are prepared for battle. Feeling the timing is perfect, Han Shen steps forward and begins the siege with one rule in mind: show no mercy. A skeleton warrior lifts a torch and ignites everything ahead. The Bone Commander waves a flag, and instantly the entire skeleton army fires, flaming arrows, straight at the city wall. The system announces siege skills activated as fireballs crash into the walls and explode like heavenly flames. The junior officer turns pale and trembles, muttering that he just wants to go home. Explosions erupt non-stop and the fortress turns into chaotic ruins. Innocent soldiers are blasted backward by the shockwaves and scream in agony. Even the officer is struck repeatedly, his body battered as he wonders what kind of terrifying siege weapon this is. Gritting his teeth with a torn body, he realizes the firepower rivals national-level strength and desperately wonders who on earth this city has offended. At that very moment, the junior officer's eyes fill with panic as he senses something is terribly wrong. He shudders when he realizes the skeletal warriors have already climbed onto the wall, and the sight of fleshless white bones makes him stagger back in cold sweat. They are already on the wall, and these monsters seem even stronger than his own troops, especially the terrifying aura coming from Xiandong. He feels deep regret and thinks he should have stayed home with his parents instead of facing this nightmare. He grits his teeth, wishing he had listened to his mother from the start. Suddenly, a thunderous explosion shakes the entire fortress and throws everything into chaos. Xiandong moves like lightning and cuts down enemy generals as if swatting flies. The system announces that Xiandong has slain an enemy general, and the host gains 200 experience points. From below, Han Shen watches his skeleton army scale the walls with perfect coordination, and cannot help but admire their flawless siege setup. Then he recalls the system notice and realizes he just gained experience, smiling as he admits he almost forgot in the excitement. The system keeps chiming that bone soldiers have killed enemy troops, and he gains 60 experience points. More bone soldiers score kills, and another 60 experience points roll in. Notifications flood in until the system congratulates him on leveling up, and his battle armor advances to 6th-tier king level, filling his body with new power. Han Shen grins brightly and wonders if he can just send the bone soldiers to farm calamities for endless experience, even while he sleeps. While he is thinking, siege vehicles rumble forward, and the system announces engineers are summoning a dragon ram to break the gate. The dragon ram smashes into the gate with overwhelming force and shatters it instantly. Han Shen watches in surprise and notes that these engineers keep exceeding his expectations and must be used wisely later. Seeing enemy soldiers fall easily, he notices his experience skyrocketing and predicts reinforcements from the rear gate will soon arrive. Under the crimson sunset, Han Shen smiles coldly and whispers for more enemies to come and turn into his experience points. The dragon ram keeps slamming into the sturdy stone walls with unstoppable force. Stones crumble everywhere, and the gate collapses faster than expected until a sudden massive explosion erupts and blasts the dragon ram back. Han Shen freezes in shock and wonders what just happened. Heavy footsteps echo from the darkness, and a furious, rough voice curses that he expected a worthy opponent. A tall, muscular man steps out from the gate's shadow, the general of the front gate Shen Yu Chanmen, staring at Han Shen in disappointment at the mere boy leading this assault. He points at Han Shen and sneers that he was in a bad mood yesterday, and now these fools dare to ruin his sleep. Han Shen narrows his eyes, sensing the terrifying aura of a top-tier expert, and realizes this must be the front gate general stalling for reinforcements. The scene shifts behind the fortress, where a firm hand grips the wall and slowly climbs upward. Sen Song swiftly scales the cliff and urges Kun and the others to move faster as they head straight for the rear gate, confident that all students are in position and the plan is about to succeed. Kun stands calmly and notes the place is too quiet, guessing most armored fighters have gone to reinforce the front gate, while Sen Song adds that the back gate is usually for dumping corpses and reeks badly. Without hesitation, they rush toward the rear gate, which is sealed with powerful talismans, and Sen Song frowns, wondering how to break such a strong barrier. She stares at the towering wall and says that if both of them equip their battle armor at the same time, then together they might be able to blow the gate open. But just as they prepare to move, the gate suddenly swings open on its own. A chill runs down Sen Song's spine, and she immediately shouts for everyone to get ready. From the darkness, a small thin figure walks out and mockingly says, "The troops just left to support the front gate, yet so many honored guests arrive at the back." The old man reveals himself as the mercenary general, guarding the rear gate, and sneers that he will take very good care of these students. The scene cuts back to the front gate, where Han Shen faces the muscular general, who angrily demands to know why they attacked his fortress, and Han Shen calmly replies he just felt bored and wanted to siege a city for fun. The casual provocation enrages the general, who roars that there is no need to waste words on a dying brat. Han Shen stays calm and coldly evaluates that the opponent has real strength and must be restrained at all costs. The general grins wickedly and declares that today he will avenge his fallen brothers. He activates his Azure Dragon rank battle armor at Dragon King tier and vows to bury them all together. Han Shen watches the transformation with interest and jokes that his bone soldiers will enjoy facing such strong armor. Without delay, Han Shen equips his own gleaming armor and marches forward, saying the general is nothing more than his stepping stone. The general narrows his eyes, amused that a 6th-tier king dares challenge a Dragon King armor, calling him ignorant of death. Han Shen smirks and reminds him that he is not alone and still has his army. At his command, the bone soldiers surge forward like a tidal wave. The general slams his weapon into the ground, creating a massive shockwave, and mocks that trash is still trash no matter how much there is. With a few brutal swings, he wipes out waves of skeletons as if they were falling leaves. The system alerts Han Shen that a large number of infantry have been destroyed and asks whether to resummon new troops. Standing in the chaos, Han Shen quickly forms a new plan and decides to summon reinforcements while preparing for the rear gate threat. He keeps only a small formation, Xian Deng and 2 healers with him, ordering the rest to enter the city and block reinforcements from the back. While he is thinking, the general suddenly charges and mocks him for standing still in fear. With a thunderous blast, the weapon smashes down, but Han Shen swiftly dodges at the last second. Seeing him leap into the air, the general sneers and mocks that he is just a puppet with no real combat experience. He instantly unleashed a new move, its aura tearing through the air, and from his heavy hammer strike came a terrifying shockwave crashing forward. Han Shen's eyes widened as the violent sound wave slammed into him, forcing him back several steps before he could even react. The shockwave felt like invisible blades slicing into his body, crushing him non-stop, his bones cracking as he struggled to endure a power far beyond any spirit beast. His strength faded fast, and he could only stare helplessly at the shattered ground beneath his feet. High above, 2 instructors watched the fight as Ariel turned to Nan Xiao and muttered that a level 6 human king facing a dragon king was simply too much. Nan Xiao stayed calm, eyes sharp, and replied that at this rate the Holy Sun would not last more than 3 minutes. Ariel sighed and said they could step in at the critical moment, though her serious expression showed clear concern. She glanced at the brutal battle below and added that the principal wanted to test the Holy Sun's limit, while the rear gate was also in serious trouble. At the back gate, Sen Song and his team faced the old general, who smirked and warned them not to underestimate an old man like him. In the blink of an eye, the old general transformed, his aura exploding as he boasted that a human king would soon be buried inside a level 9 battle armor coffin. Now looking like a war god, Ao Bai roared that coffins were for the dead, not the old, and told them to come at him together. Facing him calmly, Sen Song replied that before entering the inner city, no one knew what dangers awaited. Without hesitation, Sen Song activated his human king battle armor and told the others to conserve energy as his level 5 armor lit up. Acker watched in shock while Sen Song calmly analyzed the battlefield, knowing the mission required teamwork and that holding off the general was the best strategy. As he was thinking, Kun turned back and said one person was not enough, asking Captain Jiang if he would join forces, leaving Sen Song briefly stunned. He quickly raised 2 fingers as his aura surged and apologized for zoning out, asking if they were ready to challenge him. Sen Song stepped forward and transformed, becoming a mighty warrior in a glowing level 4 human king battle armor. The 2 of them shouted in unison toward the old general and declared the battle began. The old general at the rear gate laughed with excitement, mocking their cultivation and daring the little monkeys to show him what they had. The scene quickly shifted to the inner city. A soldier rushed in sweating and panicked, reporting that the front gate had fallen, and both gates were under attack by students from the Eastern and Western academies. He knelt and begged the Lord to retreat for safety, causing the Lord to raise an eyebrow in surprise. In his hand, he tightened a rope around the necks of 2 captured girls and sneered that the academies dared disturb his peace before he could even enjoy his new prey. His face twisted as he laughed coldly, warning that anyone who ruined his fun would die horribly. At the front gate, thick black smoke rolled into the sky and covered the battlefield. The healers kept casting recovery skills, while Han Shen stood on the edge of life and death, relieved that he had saved a few healing bone soldiers. The front gate general watched in confusion, grinding his teeth as he wondered why the kid was not crushed to pieces yet. While the general was still confused, a shadow silently appeared behind him. Xiao Deng moved like lightning and unleashed chained strikes, poison blade, agony poison, and bleeding poison, all crashing into the general's back. But the system in Han Shen's mind suddenly warned him that the enemy's level was too high and most poison effects were nullified, and the general smirked as if he expected it. He spun around with a cold glare and smashed his weapon toward Xiao Deng, roaring for him to die. With just one blow, Xiao Deng fell lifeless as the system announced his death, and that revival was impossible due to low energy, and his body slowly faded away. The system then asked Han Shen if he wanted to summon bone soldiers to block reinforcements. Han Shen shook his head and said no. This time he would rely on himself instead of his troops. After wiping out the bone soldiers, the general laughed mockingly and told Han Shen to kneel and beg, but Han Shen calmly replied that it seemed the general thought he had already won. The general sneered and declared that a mere human king could never defeat a dragon king like him, his aura crushing everything around. Han Shen stayed calm and pointed out that the general's weapon was powerful and heavy, something few at the same level could handle. Before the general could react, Han Shen activated a new system skill, Red Hair Speed. Golden light burst around his body as he floated in the air and mocked the general for being too confident in his own speed, leaving the man stunned. The ground trembled, and rocks floated upward as Han Shen coldly declared he had reached the speed of a gaudier armored warrior. The general stared in disbelief, unable to understand how someone of lower rank could release such terrifying pressure. In the next second, an explosion rang out as Han Shen shot forward like lightning and appeared right in front of him. Han Shen attacked so fast that only afterimages remained, and though the general barely dodged, his weapon shook violently and was close to breaking. Feeling his power surging, Han Shen calmly admired the strength of his enchanted battle halberd and decided he would one day obtain a full enchanted armor set. The furious general roared and charged again, refusing to lose to a mere kid. But Han Shen moved like a ghost and suddenly appeared above his head, leaving him no time to react. The general quickly fired a sharp sound attack upward, mocking Han Shen for flying again. Yet when Han Shen vanished once more before his eyes, the general grew even more enraged. Surrounded by countless afterimages, the general lost track of his target and realized that gaudier speed truly suppressed his own. Just as he hesitated, Han Shen suddenly appeared behind him. Thinking he found an opening, the general prepared to strike, but Han Shen was faster and split him in two in a single flash. The dying general stared wide-eyed, unable to accept that a human king possessed gaudier power, calling it unfair and wondering who this kid was. Even until his final breath, he never learned the name Han Shen. The moment the general fell, the system announced that Han Shen had gained 3,000 experience points and received one dry bone soldier as a reward. Han Shen glanced at the newly revived skeleton warrior behind him and smiled slightly. The system asked again, "A battle armor has been detected. Would you like to retrieve it?" Han Shen chuckled and muttered, "Why would you even ask?" Without hesitation, he confirmed through the system and activated battle armor extraction, instantly pulling the armor from the general and transferring it to his bone soldier. The skeleton warrior immediately equipped the new armor, its aura rising sharply as the system confirmed the installation was complete and prompted him to name the unit. At the thought of naming it, Han Shen frowned. Then he said, "I've already collected 2 of the 4 great military merits. This one excels at dueling enemy generals, so I'll call it General Slayer." The system immediately confirmed the name and granted the title General Slayer, increasing critical hit rate by 5. Han Shen's expression turned serious as he muttered that Red Hair Speed had a little over 10 seconds left and he could not waste it. Time was running out, and there probably was not enough time to reach the rear gate and help the students. But then a bold idea crossed his mind. Moving like the wind, he rushed forward and decided to charge straight into the inner city. The scene shifted to a massive hall deep within the city. A man slammed down a wine jar engraved with strange markings and sighed before speaking. The city lord took another drink and coldly said that only outsiders who knew his secret would dare come this far, and that he had searched nearly 10 years for the Xuanyin Saint Physique sisters. His gaze locked onto the fragile young woman before him. The disturbing look on his face filled her with panic. He declared that cultivating with the 2 of them would greatly increase his power, and that it had to be done soon, while the helpless girls could only cry in despair. The man smiled wickedly and claimed he would soon let them experience unmatched pleasure, leaving the two terrified. The scene abruptly shifted to the rear gate. A sharp weapon was embedded in the ground, releasing a terrifying aura. The general guarding the rear gate laughed arrogantly and mocked them, saying that 2 kids alone could never stop him and that nobody would pass today. Hearing that, Sensong fired back that the old man should not underestimate the younger generation, while Kun angrily shouted that there was no need for more talk and they should just fight. With a wave of his hand, Kun instantly created a mysterious barrier around the 3 of them, preventing the battle from affecting the students nearby. Sensong was startled and quickly asked what was going on, but Kun calmly told him to simply follow his lead. In the next moment, all 3 vanished before the students' eyes. Everyone was stunned, but Ane reassured them that this was their captain's strongest skill, and there was no need to worry. Encouraged by those words, the students rushed toward the inner city and shouted for everyone to make the most of the opportunity their captain had created. Inside the isolated space, the general looked around in confusion and found himself standing before a magnificent city, wondering where the brat had brought him. Sensong also examined the unfamiliar surroundings and asked Kun where they were, and Kun calmly replied that this place was not exactly a location. In the vast arena, only the 3 of them remained, as Kun explained that this was the domain of the Arena of Will, a completely isolated dimension separated from reality. Here, the combat power of him and his allies increased by 30, and he proudly declared that unless one side died, nobody could leave his domain. Hearing that, the old general grew even more excited. A cruel grin spread across his face as he mocked the 2 youths for being so eager to die, promising to kill them first before slaughtering the students outside. The scene suddenly shifted back to the grand hall inside the inner city. The city lord looked at the trembling girl on the bed and sneered, asking if she was still resisting. His eyes swept across the helpless girls as he mocked them for thinking sheer willpower could overcome the effects of the drug, laughing that they were only delaying the inevitable. He stepped closer while threatening that sooner or later they would be begging him, causing the girls to tremble in fear as he reached toward them. At that moment, he suddenly lunged toward one of the girls, unwilling to wait any longer. Before he could act, a weapon thrown by Han Shen flashed through the air and shot straight toward him. Rage flared in the city lord's eyes as he casually knocked the weapon aside. The weapon slammed into the floor and shook violently. At the same time, Han Shen strode forward with his weapon in hand and shouted for him to stop bullying innocent girls. He mocked the city lord for being a complete pervert and claimed that all of his forces outside had already been wiped out, urging him to surrender. The city lord laughed with disdain and pointed at Han Shen, saying he expected someone important but got nothing more than a brat, while showing a disturbing interest in the young man. Han Shen was disgusted by the sight and felt his anger rising. Letting this monster live any longer would only bring more disaster. The city lord grabbed the heads of the 2 unconscious girls and mocked them for still resisting the drug. His gaze shifted to Han Shen as he coldly declared that he would deal with Han Shen first and handle the others afterward. Han Shen remained silent, but fury burned inside him. This man was evil to the core. Without hesitation, the city lord struck the nearest girl across the face. He then hit the blonde girl as well, knocking both unconscious as their fragile bodies collapsed. Smirking, he told them to sleep for a while and promised to deal with them later, after finishing off Han Shen. The city lord raised his massive hands, stirring the air around him as an overwhelming aura erupted from his body. Sensing the terrifying energy, Han Shen instinctively stepped back. This enemy was far stronger than any guardian general he had faced before. The city lord stomped the ground, producing a thunderous boom. In an instant, he equipped a shining battle armor and gripped a giant blade, looking every bit like a mighty warlord despite his twisted nature. He was a 4th-level dragon king with a Yazi battle armor. With a proud grin, he mocked Han Shen and said it was already too late for regret. He began boasting about ancient legends, explaining that Yazi was one of the dragon god's 9 offspring, a bloodthirsty divine beast born for battle and slaughter. Laughing loudly, he declared that the armor suited him perfectly and claimed that the weak deserved to be bullied, promising to unleash all his resentment on Han Shen. Han Shen's face darkened as he assessed the situation. The enemy was a 4th-level dragon king, 8 levels above him, and all of his skills were currently on cooldown, making the battle extremely difficult. The scene shifted back to the grand white hall inside the inner city. A heavy foot slammed onto the stone floor like thunder as the city lord stepped forward arrogantly, mocking that killing such a handsome brat would be a pity. He stopped in front of Han Shen and declared that the ritual with the Xuanyin Saint physique was too important, so he had no choice but to kill him. Despite his massive build, he leapt into the air like a storm and slashed down, saying he would let Han Shen die first. But Han Shen calmly replied that everyone dies. Standing firm, Han Shen faced the deadly strike and said that he was no exception. The giant blade crashed down as if to end him, yet Han Shen did not move, as though fate had other plans. Suddenly, a pair of phantom hands emerged from the void, shocking the city lord. He looked up in horror and shouted in disbelief. Yuan Jing appeared with eyes sharp as blades, unleashing overwhelming power that shattered the city lord's weapon even without armor. Realizing the danger, the city lord staggered back and demanded to know who had been hiding there unnoticed. Yuan Jing stepped forward like a tidal wave and coldly said he was not worthy of knowing. A radiant armor manifested around Yuan Jing as he equipped the gaudier three-spike white tiger armor, his aura fierce like a beast descending the mountain. The city lord turned pale, unable to believe that someone like him possessed gaudier power. Yuan Jing flashed in front of him and mocked his claim that the strong could bully the weak. Moving so fast he left only a blur. Without hesitation, Yuan Jing unleashed Tiger Wind Slash, tearing through all defenses as if the city lord were nothing. With a single strike, the city lord collapsed, teeth scattering as his body crashed to the floor. After defeating him effortlessly, Yuan Jing grinned at Han Shen and admitted he had been hiding nearby all along, saying the exam only required Han Shen to enter the inner city, while defeating this man was his task. The two searched the hall as Yuan Jing said there was no more danger and that he would bring the principal to handle things, telling Han Shen to guard the man and not kill him yet because he was still useful. Han Shen muttered in confusion that he was supposed to guard this guy. He crouched beside the unconscious city lord and noticed that all his meridians were severed, yet he still had a faint breath, leaving him shocked at how someone so arrogant could end up like this. Keeping calm, Han Shen asked the system if he could extract the man's armor. The system replied that the target was not dead, and the armor had not entered a void state, so it could not be extracted, making Han Shen realize the enemy had to die completely first. Sitting beside the bed, Han Shen wondered why they were keeping such a twisted monster alive. Even so, he sensed there might be secrets hidden within the man. Though he wanted to finish him off, his conscience stopped him, so he decided to wait for the principal to decide. While he was lost in thought, a soft hand suddenly touched his shoulder as the blonde girl leaned close with flushed cheeks, saying she felt very uncomfortable, startling Han Shen as he realized she had woken up. Before he could process it, the red-haired girl stepped closer and whispered that she felt the same. Her body and heart were both overflowing with desire. The two girls quickly moved closer to him. They admitted they could barely hold on anymore. Han Shen froze with a blank mind and had no idea what to do. As the girls kept pleading for help, he hurriedly waved his hands and said, "Wait a second." But the two of them rushed forward and pressed against him, leaving him completely frozen. Their soft hands brushed across his face again and again. Panicking, he blurted out, "Hold on, I have no experience with this." A new system notification suddenly appeared. Battle Domain Continent, New Era, May 27, 1986. The host has lost his male virgin status. The scene shifted and brought everyone to a ruined ancient site called Do Chang Yi Ji. There, a general suddenly attacked Kong Song and Mo Jun from behind. The powerful strike shot straight toward Kong Song, leaving him caught off guard. The attack was incredibly fast. Just as he thought he could not dodge it, Mo Jun rushed forward and blocked the attack for him. Shocked, Kong Song shouted Mo Jun. Mo Jun turned around with confidence. "Brother Xiao Song, my armor is extremely durable and resistant. It'll be fine." He then added, "It'll block the damage, so go all out with your attack." While the two were discussing their plan, the old general suddenly vanished. Kong Song and Mo Jun were stunned. Had he disappeared? Before they could react, the general appeared behind them with a sinister smile. "Your battle plan is still in its most primitive stage." Kong Song reacted immediately and swung his weapon at the old man. But the general easily dodged. His movements looked effortless. He even mocked them. Too slow, poor reactions, and no combat experience. What are those Eastern academies teaching these days? Mo Jun could clearly feel that the old man's strength far exceeded expectations. This old guy was extremely difficult to deal with. But right when the general was feeling proud of himself, Mo Jun suddenly sensed something was wrong. He dropped to one knee and grabbed his stomach. Kong Song rushed over in panic. "Mo Jun, are you okay?" Gasping weakly, he replied. "That old man landed a sneak attack on me." The general remained calm and suddenly began telling a story. "What a coincidence," he continued casually. "When I was young, I traveled through many nations. In a Western country, I heard a legend about an armored hero." He continued in a calm but meaningful tone. The armored hero was the son of a sea goddess and a mortal hero. The goddess dipped him into the river Styx, making his body nearly invulnerable. His cold gaze swept across the battlefield. but his ankle never touched the river Styx, because the goddess was holding it. That means the ankle is the weakness of your armor. Growing even more smug, he pointed directly at them. This is the experience earned through time. How could you compare to that? We mercenaries train with our lives on the line. Compared to us, you're flowers raised in a greenhouse. The general raised his weapon high, his mocking smile widening. All you care about is comfort and happiness. You're a failed generation. Hearing those arrogant words, Kong Song could no longer contain his anger. He charged forward and shouted, "Old fool, don't get ahead of yourself." But the general remained completely calm. Like a phantom, the general kept disappearing before Kong Song's spear thrusts. He sneered, pathetic. "I've had enough of this game. I'll end your lives quickly," the general declared coldly. The words enraged Kong Song, but he could only continue attacking. The general mocked him again. "You're so focused on my weakness that you've ignored your own lower defense." Suddenly, chains burst from the ground and wrapped tightly around the general's legs. Startled, he turned around in panic. "What, damn it, I can't move." Seizing the opportunity, Kong Song raised both hands as powerful energy gathered around them. A gigantic incense burner began to take shape, radiating overwhelming pressure. He spoke in a cryptic tone. "A mercenary spirit will do anything for money." His actions finally shook the general. For the first time, he felt real danger. This brat is gathering all the energy in his body. The old man panicked. Coldly, "And you're still standing there preaching such shameless nonsense." He hurled the giant incense burner forward and shouted, "A man like you has no right to talk about honor." After all his arrogance, the general was finally forced to taste defeat. "Impossible. I've fought my whole life. How could I lose to a bunch of kids?" His arms dropped helplessly onto the cold ground. Filled with despair, he slipped into eternal sleep, regretting that he had underestimated the younger generation. The scene shifted back to the rear gate, where everyone had gathered. Back in reality, Kong Song, Mo Jun, and the others stood there. Not seeing any classmates around, Mo Jun remarked in surprise, "The others aren't here. They probably made it into the inner city already." Kong Song glanced at him with concern. "Is your leg injury okay?" Mo Jun smiled reassuringly. "I'm fine. I just can't fight anymore. Walking isn't a problem." He returned to his normal form, but worry still showed in his eyes. "I wonder how Han Shen is doing at the front gate." Thinking that Han Shen might be in danger, both of them became uneasy. Kong Song quickly decided, "Let's go support him." He's been holding the line alone. He could be in serious trouble. What they didn't know was that Han Shen had already drifted far from the image of a typical protagonist. The battle he was facing on the bed could only be described as something the system refused to comment on. It was truly a difficult battle. Meanwhile, the academy students entered the inner city while chatting excitedly. "We've already cleared out the mobs. This is the inner city." Another student said eagerly, "So this is the inner city. Can we go further inside?" They hurried forward. One girl reminded everyone, "Our mission was to attack the inner city. It never said we had to enter the main hall." Another student immediately suggested, "I think we should stay here and wait for the captain to return first." But Baozi looked surprised. She spoke her mind directly. "Are we really just going to stand here and wait? Why don't I sneak over and check the situation?" The others quickly warned her. "Be careful, Baozi." She nodded and moved closer. She carefully pushed the door open and peeked inside. Just taking a quick look. It should be fine, right? But the sight before her instantly made her face burn red. Her whole body trembled as she stumbled backward in shock. Seeing her strange reaction, her classmates rushed over. "Baozi, what did you see?" Yet she remained frozen in place. "Baozi, can you hear us?" At that moment, Baozi hurriedly slammed the door shut. Her face was bright red with embarrassment, yet she firmly blocked the entrance and refused to let anyone see what was happening inside. Leaning against the door, she panted as if she had just finished a marathon. Noticing her unusual behavior, a student stepped closer and asked curiously, "Baozi, why is your nose bleeding?" Another student widened his eyes. "Could there be some powerful expert inside? Did their aura injure you?" Baozi stammered awkwardly, "I am fine." Just as everyone continued discussing the situation, Hongdi and several academy instructors arrived. Smiling brightly, he praised them warmly. "You kids actually captured the inner city. Not bad at all." The students immediately cheered. "The headmaster is here, and the teachers too." A student quickly ran over and reported everything. "Headmaster Hongdi, there seems to be a very powerful enemy inside. Even Baozi got injured." Hongdi nodded calmly. "Understood. Let this old man go in and see what's happening." As he slowly walked toward the entrance, Baozi suddenly rushed forward and blocked his path. Her voice trembled. "Headmaster, please wait." But Hongdi remained completely calm. "Don't panic, child." He glanced at her and said confidently, "I've traveled the world my entire life. I've seen every kind of situation. Don't worry." Although he spoke calmly, he secretly felt a bit proud, believing he had already figured everything out. Then Hongdi decisively pushed the door open and looked inside. The moment he saw the scene, he froze. Realizing it was nothing like the reports, he immediately slammed the door shut. Leaning against it, he suddenly started bleeding from the nose. The blood dripped onto the floor as he cried inwardly, "This situation is way too intense." The scene shocked the students and teachers. They started whispering, "Look, even the headmaster got a nosebleed from the enemy inside. No way. Is there someone stronger than Headmaster Hongdi?" Yuan Jing, standing nearby, looked confused. "There shouldn't be any danger inside, right?" Hongdi felt awkward, his face slightly red. He wiped the blood with a handkerchief and said seriously, "The situation inside is a bit complicated. 2 female instructors will stay. The rest of you take the students outside the city and wait." His tone was firm. "There are matters we need to handle." Time passed quickly. After the time it takes for 1 incense stick to burn, inside the vast hall, Han Shen was still sleeping deeply, completely unaware of what had happened. After a long rest, Han Shen slowly opened his eyes. "I accidentally overslept," he muttered. His body felt completely drained. It was exhausting. Seeing him awake, Hongdi spoke in surprise. "You brat, finally up?" Han Shen jumped. "Jiang Headmaster, why are you here?" Hongdi sighed, pipe in hand, and calmly explained everything. As for the 2 girls, the female instructors already took them back to the academy to rest. "I've roughly understood the situation. This isn't your fault." His face remained calm. "You've been asleep for quite a while. I've been waiting for you to wake up." But inside, he thought the younger generation's stamina was nothing compared to his youth. He casually tossed a set of clothes onto the bed. "Get dressed. Don't catch a cold. Then come with me to handle some matters." Han Shen's face turned red with embarrassment. He nodded repeatedly. He wished he could disappear on the spot. After getting dressed, he stepped down and walked toward the inner city lord. "Can you speak?" he asked seriously. "I have a few questions." The man trembled in fear and immediately knelt. "Senior." He looked completely humble now. "Thank you, Senior, for sparing my life. Ask anything. If I know it, I will tell you everything." Hongdi spoke coldly. "Decades ago, the imperial court issued a black brocade box. Each year it is passed among noble families for safekeeping. This year, it should be your family's turn. Correct?" Hearing this secret mentioned, the inner city lord was stunned. "You even know about that?" He hurriedly explained. "The box has always been kept by the clan elders. We juniors have never seen it." Han Kui dropped to his knees and continued, "If you want the box, I will return to request instructions from the elders. I will do my best to complete this task for you." Hongdi's gaze turned sharp. "Your clan elder passed away recently from illness. Before dying, he handed the box to his most beloved successor." His voice hardened. "And you dare lie to me? Do you take our academy's intelligence network for fools?" Seeing Hongdi angry, the inner city lord panicked. "Please calm down. I was just scared and forgot. I'll tell you the truth." With no other choice, he confessed. "The black brocade box is indeed in my possession. I hid it intact in a secret room beneath the red carpet." He begged desperately. "It's all true. You can check it now. Once you get the box, please let me go." Hongdi slowly stepped closer. "I believe you," he said calmly. "But after all the evil you've done, do you think it ends so easily?" He stared at him coldly. "How about this? You can leave, but your head stays. What do you think?" The inner city lord turned pale. Suddenly, he pulled out a shining golden token and declared proudly, "But you can't kill me." He raised the token high. "Do you recognize this?" Hongdi looked at the golden immunity token with slight surprise. In a deep voice, he said, "The Eastern Academy was founded thousands of years ago. 3,000 years ago, it granted 3 golden immunity tokens to those who made great contributions." The inner city lord smiled proudly. "Thanks to my ancestors, I obtained one of these golden immunity tokens. No one from the Eastern Academy can kill me." Hongdi sighed in disappointment. "That is true," he admitted. "Your token still contains the energy of past Academy seniors. As headmaster, I must follow the rules." With no choice, he turned to leave. "I can't interfere anymore." The inner city lord was overjoyed. "Really? Thank you, Senior." His face lit up as he spoke sweetly, promising to change. But inside, he sneered. Once his meridians recovered, he would return to his old ways. Just as he was feeling smug, Hongdi suddenly spoke coldly. "But those are rules from thousands of years ago. I want to hear the opinion of the younger generation." The inner city lord froze. Hongdi walked forward calmly. "Han Shen, I'll leave this to you. I'll pretend I saw nothing." Han Shen stepped up, standing right in front of the man. The inner city lord trembled. "Young hero." Han Shen smiled faintly. "Relax, I don't want to kill anyone. I respect the rules set by the Academy seniors." His eyes suddenly turned icy. "The Eastern Academy may not have anyone who can kill you." A terrifying presence slowly appeared behind him. "But the one killing you doesn't have to be from the Academy," Han Shen declared. The inner city lord turned pale. Wait, spare me. I'll do anything you ask." Under Han Shen's cold gaze, the White Frost warriors raised their sharp blades. "I'm a dog. I'm a filthy dog," he screamed. But before he could finish begging, 2 warriors struck him down instantly. A cold voice mocked. "Now you try to flatter us? Too late." His miserable screams echoed through the hall as blood splattered everywhere. Even the precious golden immunity token was split in half, stained with blood. Evil had met its reward. The scene shifted back to the inner city hall, where Hongdi stood. With a swift motion, he ripped away the red carpet, revealing a hidden chamber beneath. Without hesitation, he slammed his fist into the ground, shaking the entire space. An ancient wooden box slowly emerged. His eyes lit up. Found it. What I want is inside this box. He stared at the glowing red seal below. I can feel the energy from the black brocade box inside. Han Shen looked curious. Grandpa, Jiang, what is that box? Hongdi cut him off. Don't ask. You'll know when the time comes. It's time for us to leave. Han Shen glanced at the cold corpse on the floor. Grandpa Jiang, give me one more minute. I can still make use of him. Hongdi looked back in surprise. Make use of him? The scene shifted to late night at the Eastern Academy. Han Shen was inside a room glowing with a strange light. He was deep in cultivation, lost in thought. After dual cultivation with the two girls, his body had begun to change. A sense of unease filled him. What's happening? The energy from his battle armor kept surging, growing terrifyingly strong. Suddenly, the system notified him. Host has absorbed the power of the profound yin sacred body X2. Cultivation speed has increased dramatically. Han Shen was stunned as the faces of the two girls flashed in his mind. So it was because of the dual cultivation, he asked. System, what is the profound yin sacred body? The system replied. A rare inherited physique from the battle domain continent. Appears once in a century. However, it has no effect on divine-grade battle armor. Han Shen finally understood. I see. Feeling something strange inside his body, he opened his eyes wide. It's here, this power. His body felt like it was exploding as energy surged wildly. The room was flooded with golden light, then quickly returned to silence. After a moment, the system announced, Congratulations, host has advanced to Dragon King armor level. Han Shen looked at his hands in disbelief. I broke through, without even gaining experience points? Thinking about the sudden boost in strength, he was stunned. But as certain bold ideas crossed his mind, the system warned him, dual cultivation only works the first time. Han Shen froze, and his smile faded. He sighed helplessly, then smirked. Breaking through this easily really feels like cheating. The thrill made him laugh. The memory of that night still filled him with satisfaction. The scene shifted to a dense forest, near the Eastern Academy late at night. Heavy breathing shattered the silence. A man was running forward in panic. Exhaustion weighed on him, but he kept running as if his life depended on it. Anyone could tell he was fleeing in pure desperation. He had only gone into the forest to gather firewood, yet suddenly he was being chased by brutal monsters. Why are disasters happening so often, he wondered in fear. Leading the monsters was a female creature, with a cruel smile and cold eyes locked onto him. Suddenly, they leaped high into the air, diving toward him like predators ready to tear him apart. Looking up, he saw terrifying shadows descending. Fear gripped his heart as he screamed, Help! Someone save me! Just as he thought he was about to die, Han Shen's skeleton soldiers suddenly appeared and struck down the monsters. More skeleton troops joined the fight, cutting through the creatures one after another. The man stood frozen in shock. What is happening? His mind was in chaos. He could not understand what he was seeing. In front of him, skeletal warriors kept attacking the monsters, saving him from certain death. Are disasters fighting disasters? He muttered. The system notified Han Shen. Your skeleton soldiers are eliminating calamities. Experience points are being calculated. Xiandong unleashed terrifying power, slaughtering countless monsters. Your elite soldier Xiandong is eliminating calamities. Experience points are being calculated. Overall strategy rank A, defense rank C. Han Zhen charged into battle as well, wiping out waves of monsters. Elite soldier Han Zhen. Overall strategy rank B, defense rank A. Then Zhanjiang stepped forward, swinging a massive mace and crushing enemies wildly. Elite soldier Zhanjiang. Overall strategy rank A, defense rank A. Duo Qi was no weaker, tearing through the monsters deep in the forest. Elite soldier Duo Qi. Overall strategy rank A, defense rank A. The system kept updating. Host has slain a calamity. Gained 20 experience points. Sitting still while experience kept rising made Han Shen excited. His elite troops were farming points non-stop. He clenched his fists. I need to push this system to its limits. Suddenly, the system issued a new notification. Host's doubt detected. Responding. The answer stunned Han Shen. He stared at the glowing screen. What? The system has no limits?